Yeah, a little burn. Cannabis Life Radio is on the air. Good morning. I don't think I've ever said that before.
No, I don't think you have.
Good
morning.
This is Cannabis Life Radio. I'm Leon Hamilton along with Arby Barroso and Cheryl Murray Powell. This is Florida's original cannabis radio program.
OG.
Yeah.
Yes,
OG.
original.
I like that too. The OG cannabis radio program of
OG
Florida.
Kush, baby, my favorite.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover. We don't have a government, but we do have a show to do.
Yeah, let's get political.
Yeah, well, that wasn't
Oh,
you
It's an
just teased
opening.
it right into that one,
I
man.
chose no
The
side.
Trump shutdown.
It's going there.
Hashtag Trump shutdown.
We are in the middle of this, and I'm literally stuck in the middle in between. So let's go ahead, Leon. You can continue.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, and not that. All right. We got major news. One of the license holders, one of Florida's license holders, has sold to a Canadian company. We're going to talk about that a little
That's
later.
a freaking surprise.
This is the second time that it's happened, and we're going to get into that a little bit later because the company that purchased it has some shady background too. So we're going to talk about that.
We're changing the name to Floranida.
Floranida. Yes. We're all going to have French accents, and we're not going to tip. And then sorry,
I love it.
It's the restaurant in me. The restaurant guy in me. We're also going to talk about the federal government going after weed in the middle of an opioid crisis. We're going to talk about
Big mistake.
Big mistake, yes. And we're going to do Treyas Jarrell's is here.
Oh yeah,
Treyas Jarrell's.
he's in the house.
My
He is
brother.
here.
We
Very
have a
exciting
story going on
Hey,
on
bro.
him. He's coming in a segment, so it's going to be very interesting. Reaching out to the athletes coming up on his Pro Bowl, Super
Yes.
Bowl that's coming up. There's a lot
There's a
of
Super
people-
Bowl coming up?
I know you're not into sports. I mean, I know you're more into dance and stuff like that.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
the fact is that yes,
Our pirouettes
we do,
are off
we
the
definitely
chain.
have a
Yes.
Pro Bowl and Super Bowl coming up
Oh,
that
my
we'll be
goodness.
extremely involved in.
Yeah.
So we'll be speaking a little bit more about that a little bit later on.
And we also have a giveaway, right? We got tons of giveaways.
Always
we got $500
giveaways.
worth of CBD products. I think
Always.
I heard somebody talking about that. And
Ding, ding, dong.
And of course, Arby's mail sack. Nobody can forget that. That
My
is
nuts
the
in the
highlight.
house.
That
At least they're not making that loud noise anymore.
yeah, no more
From
slapping.
season 2.
No more
That
slapping
was interesting.
when we talk about Arby's mail sack. And of course, Cheryl's closing arguments. We got tons of stuff to go over. And
Sure.
so, where do you want to start? You want to start with the license holder?
Let's start with that segment.
I mean, this is
let's
ridiculous.
talk about
I mean,
that.
this is what one of the things that we were arguing when we were in session last year is the fact that people should have, you should have a residency here.
Right.
You should be a 2 years residence, just like Colorado did it. So the money stays in Florida. This is for Floridians. It is not
Silly.
for somebody coming out from outside the country and investing in. Obviously, probably going to be the top 1, 2, or 3 cannabis recommended providers in the country.
Yeah.
With the amount of patients that we're going to have, and we're going to allow this money to go outside our own country.
Crazy.
I mean, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they tried to approach that or address that in the last session with the Senate bill by requiring an entity to be in existence for 5 years
Right.
and registered 5 years with the Secretary of State. So that's their attempt at having a residency requirement, which makes sense. The challenge we're having is everywhere we look, there are these Canadian companies looking to
Right.
to take part in this market. And the reason why they can is they have the funds available. And the reason why that is because they're federally legal. So when
Yeah.
you look at being federally legal, it opens up a lot more avenues, the ability to raise funds, the ability to bank, to get lending, to trade on the stock market.
Yeah, that's
So
a big advantage right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Is where you're raising a lot of these companies are raising funds through their shares, and they're public entities, and they're able to raise millions and millions of dollars to be able to do this. And when they acquire a company in Florida, knowing that this is going to be a very financial benefit state,
Right.
of course somebody's going to invest. Who's not going to invest? So there's a lot of that money coming into the state of Florida. And into other states, but mainly into Florida.
Right. But
And
what's
how do we compete?
Right. What's the point, though, of making all these people go through the application process, pay millions of dollars, or at least put up millions of dollars up front, as proof that they can make the money or have the money in the bank, and then pay thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove that they can do it, and then just sit on the license like these people did at Grow Healthy. They sat on it for 2 years, never planted a seed, and then they just sell it to to an investment firm out of Canada? What is the point of making people go through the licensing process if there's no oversight at all and they can just sell it to anyone?
Precisely, and they on the application they make all these promises about what they're going to do in the 2-year cycle, and then who misses out? The other people who applied, who were legitimate Florida
Right.
businesses.
Yeah, it's like
It's
a
silly.
Garrison
That's
Senior.
exactly. That's a
those are
great
the people.
example.
Those are the people that should be getting the license that really want to plant the seeds. But here you go having a company selling their shares of their license that haven't planted a seed
Right.
for this type of money to a company.
Never helped anyone.
Never helped no one. And this is what it's all about. And this is why we continue to speak out, is the fact that we have to stand behind the people that are here, not
Right.
the people that are outside. So there is license holders right now, or applications that have been submitted that fit the criteria of the state, but yet they're still left in limbo.
Right.
Yeah.
Silliness.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Another attempt with the last Senate bill to remedy the situation is you're not allowed to buy a portion of a license. So you have to buy the entire license, and there's a requirement of, I believe it's 60 days notice to the Department of Health prior to.
So they
to a
actually
sale.
approved this?
They had to have approved it.
approve
That's
it.
statute right now. Yeah.
So the government approved the sale?
They have to, according to the statute. So
That's
they
some
they,
funny business
Wow.
right
They
there,
need a
man.
notice. I'm not sure if there's an approval, but they need notice of a sale prior to the
That
sale.
is some
which
shady,
60 days.
shady
Because
So
that
that-
would be the way to stop it, and the way to enforce it is that point.
That's why that was written into the statute.
It's silly.
Well, obviously,
yeah,
it
because
didn't work.
portions were being, kind of sold off, and then now they put in the rule that they can't sell portions of their license. It would have to be the entire thing that's sold.
And they paid $17.5 million, is that right? Is that what you're saying? $17.5 million for the license, and they never planted a seed.
Well, the valuations have definitely come down. I think when we were here last year talking about the valuation on licenses, that we were, a Florida license was valued at about $100,000.
Right.
And now for an entire license to go for 17.5, I mean, that's more relatable to other
I like to
markets.
invest in that market.
Yeah, really? Man.
I'd be all over that.
Yeah.
I think
quite
we
a
are all
turnover.
over that. My bad.
Yeah.
What? All right.
So yeah, it is interesting. We're seeing a lot of Canadian activity. Even we'll talk about my trip to Jamaica and things like that. I see.
Girl, you've been all over the place.
I
Let's talk
have.
about Jamaica. We got Jamaica, Toronto, Iowa,
Yes.
Yeah.
and Orlando
And
in 1
Orlando.
week. I
Yes.
mean, you're talking about travel time. You put some miles on.
I work for a great company, so I stay inspired.
Where do you work?
I'm
Funny
in-house
question,
counsel.
funny guy.
I'm in-house counsel,
Funny
proudly
guy.
in-house counsel for Green Rose.
Oh, okay.
I love the post from Facebook yesterday too.
Oh.
The post that they actually wrote was like, "This is like made for a movie."
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That's
That was
Dean
great.
Perez.
Yes.
So Dean Perez is one of the deans at Nova School of Law. And I started, most people know that I graduated from FIU Law, but my first year I spent at Nova Law, and we established a really good relationship. He was extremely supportive, especially when I had no money to continue. He was able to identify a scholarship that I qualified for. So we still stay in touch, and then he just posts these funny things on Facebook on my page, and he said, a Jamaican woman in Iowa.
In Iowa.
It's a great plot for a movie.
No, in Iowa, speaking about cannabis.
Right.
That is a great plot for a movie right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, as long as it's not a horror flick, I'm with it.
Wow.
So it was good. It was good. I mean, we had the Canna Summit
Yeah.
that Green Road sponsored,
Yes.
which was very important. We had some very high profile people there from Steep Hill, which is one of the
Yes.
main sponsors. EVO Labs was there. We had Senator Tom Davis out of South Carolina. You had Christian Bax there. You had basically True Leaf, Kim Rivers. You had everybody that was somebody there that was professional, that was trying to lead this industry into 2018
Right.
and really lead it in the right way. So it's, in other words, being behind the testing and the compliance and everything that you really need to be, consumer friendly on your product, which really at the end really means the most thing is being consumer friendly, making sure that you're explaining what's in your product, testing your products, and making sure that they're taking a good product. So it was impressive to see everybody there, and it was really, really cool. And Cheryl was there, and after that, we went to Don Shula's for steak.
Oh, yeah.
And then had a
How
great
was your
dinner.
steak?
It was
Man,
actually
magnificent.
it was a beautiful place. And from there, we went back to the hotel, and she caught a flight to Iowa.
Wow.
So we'll get into that a little bit after this commercial break.
Absolutely.
You are currently tuned to Cannabis Life Radio, brought to you by Green Roads World.
As a loving pet owner, you want to treat your senior dog for dysplasia, neuropathy, and joint discomfort with minimal traditional chemical medication. And as loving pet owners, we at King Canine agree, and we're excited to make our signature CBD line available to you. Derived from all-natural cannabidiol compounds, lab-tested, non-GMO, plant-based, cutting-edge King Calm CBD reduces and discomfort naturally and even reduces anxiety from fireworks and thunderstorms. Go to kingcanine.com, that's KINGKANINE for details, and browse a full line of products like King Comb De-Shedder, King Calm Balm, and King Clean Shampoo for pet wellness inside and out. Order now using the code BARK20 for an exclusive 20% discount. KINGKANINE.com, King Calm CBD, and the rest of our natural cannabis products. King Canine, for natural pet wellness, inside and out.
Across the state to across the country, the Hemp Kings is your online home for hemp oil products. From organic hemp oil to intense concentrates, there is only one name you need to remember. The Hemp Kings.
The Hemp Kings.
Our Hemp Cream Pain Blaster lotions uses natural essential oils to deliver hemp's natural pain reliever directly to the site of inflammation for long-lasting relief. Now, our Pain Blaster Hemp Cream has now gone to the extreme.
Extreme?
Extreme!
Extreme!
New Pain Blaster Extreme Cream delivers even more relief, even faster! The best hemp products at the best prices delivered anywhere in the continental U.S. TheHempKings.com!
TheHempKings.com!
Green Roads World is recognized as one of the world's leading suppliers of CBD products, and Cannabis Life Radio is giving away Green Road CBD products every week. To join, just tune in on our Facebook Live broadcast every Saturday morning at 10 and follow the instructions on air and in the comment section. Cannabis Life Radio is teaming up with Green Roads World to give you free CBD. Good luck from Cannabis Life Radio and Green Roads World.
Florida Home Grow is the state's #1 seller of hemp oil products. Stop by and check out their organic hemp oil, capsules, and pain-killing topical lotions. Enjoy a complimentary cup of fresh organic coffee when checking out our beautiful showroom. Florida Home Grow also carries unique hemp items like jewelry, soaps, clothing, and accessories. Don't forget to try refreshing natural lemonade or delicious ice cream sandwiches. Florida Home Grow is conveniently located on Lake Worth Road between Jog and the Turnpike. We're the #1 sellers of hemp oil products because our stuff works.
Nobody covers cannabis news like Cannabis Life Radio. Nobody.
We got a hot mic.
We are back.
Cannabis Life Radio is on the air.
Live.
Leon Hamilton, Arby Barroso, and Cheryl Murray Powell here. Hey, Cheryl, I had a couple of questions about the first company that sold to a Canadian company. What was the first name?
Aphria?
What is it called?
Aphria? Yeah.
Aphria has already opened up several dispensaries, correct?
Yeah, they are. They have a strong presence, and they're actively involved. They're coming to Florida Cannabis Coalition events, and yeah, they're becoming part of the market, which is good to see.
All right. Well,
I know our wonderful producer Nasser. He is in dialogue with bringing in Nikki Freed from Green Solutions in the next couple weeks. So we definitely want to pick her brain.
Shout out
what's
to Nikki
going on.
for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of knowledge there.
Yeah, a lot of knowledge there, but we want to see what Green Solutions is doing. What's their plan? What's their pathway to patients? So we'll have some hard-hitting questions, but we definitely always love on Nikki because she's a great advocate as well.
All right.
And I'll always stick to education.
What was going on with you? You went to where? Colorado?
Why are you questioning me?
Yes.
Because that's my job, mister.
Oh, no. I think you're
So
asking
we've been on the road. We've been on the road. So let's go back to last week. I missed my Canna audience. I was able to be on the show for a little bit.
About
from
30
the-
seconds.
Yes, tell us what happened.
About 30 seconds, and then the show went.
I think it was. I think she did that on purpose because she was testing. You know, she was doing some testing.
I was
And
sampling
you
at the
threw me
Herb
under the
in
bus like
Jamaica.
50 times last week, Arby.
I had to do it.
But the prequel to that the audience didn't get to see was before when I first logged on. Everybody got to see me eat my breakfast and eat my bread, and I was chomping and everything. So that was all fun. But yes, I was in Jamaica last week for Rebel Salute. Rebel Salute is an amazing concert. that is hosted by Tony Rebel. This was the 25th anniversary
Wow.
of Rebel Salute. So all the old school reggae artists.
Nice.
And it's all about positive reggae, like conscious reggae, about, progressive reggae. So everybody wanted to be on this lineup, and it was just fantastic.
Nice.
What I didn't expect was that concert didn't end till like 10 in the morning. So
Wow.
each day. So it was like Friday all the way till 10 a.m.
Wow.
And it starts like at like 1 p.m. So you get there, and I had a booth at
Oh,
the
hell no.
Curb, which I'll talk about. And then it goes, and it just keeps going. And then there are all these great artists, and the best artists are like 8 a.m., 8:30.
Oh, my goodness.
So I was like, all right, I gotta get my game together, tighten up my game for
Thank
next
God
year.
I missed that
Yeah,
flight.
you got to
Yeah,
schedule.
no, you would have loved it.
No,
you probably
no,
would have
no.
shown up at like 7 a.m.
Yeah, you know me. I got to pick the right hours.
Been all
You know.
fresh while I was looking like a.
And then leave. Go sleep.
I'm in, out, in, out.
Yeah.
That's
I
just,
posted some videos for our TSC crew. They're going to look through it and share with you some video of me being at Rebel Salute. So, just to talk about the legalization market in Jamaica, there are three ways that ganja is legal. One is for medicinal purposes, the other is for recreational purposes, and the third is for sacramental purposes for the
Right.
Rastafarian community. Well, because of that, the Rastas are able to have these Rasta festivals, Roots festivals, cups, and things like that. So part of the Tony Rebel event is there's like an area and a tent called the Herb Curb. And at the Herb Curb, and this is the first time I've seen it, I think this is the second or third year that they've had it, you can actually buy and sell marijuana products. They're identified vendors, safe vendors identified, and, there were some yummy edibles. There were just a lot of products, so you have your choice. Patients
cool.
and
Wow.
anyone. It was basically anyone could come and purchase what they desired, and it was great to see that freeness.
I guarantee you there was no fights, no
there
violence,
were no fights.
nothing.
No fight. It was all peace and love and harmony. Great music, great people. Canna Headhunters was out there, so I had
Shout out.
Shout out Canna Headhunters. I had my Canna Headhunters banner, pop-up banner. A lot of good questions. A lot of employers who are interested in identifying talent. And then I also had my other company, Green Sustainable Strong, had a banner for them, which is a company for farmers, really related to being able to buy, sell, and barter in a marketplace. So I've created a Facebook marketplace. There's no charge. And then you can say, hey, I have bushels of corn, or I have, I'm a cannabis consultant. And it's really about the farming, agricultural.
So there's a lot of education going on, and a lot of
tons of
trading
education.
and bartering,
Absolutely.
and really people getting involved in the
Right.
industry itself, because that creates a completely, industry where people could actually trade, live
Absolutely.
off of what they're farming, and at the same time educate the people on what they're getting. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's really self-led. There's Green Sustainable Strong as a page where I put a lot of education, and then there's Green Sustainable Strong Marketplace, which is where the buying and selling takes place. So a lot of fun, a lot of interest. I want to shout out Joan Webley. She is a good friend of us. She's a friend to Green Roads. She was actually at the Green Roads holiday party, and she organized the Herb Curb this year. She did a phenomenal job. There was a panel discussion on the Saturday that I took part in. Muta Baruka, again, was the moderator for the panel. A lot of great conversation about what's happening in the United States, how, ITA living, how Rastafarians can get a leg up, or, get a leg up in the cannabis industry overall. How
They should
Jamaica
have a
can
leg
compete.
up. I mean, that's
Yes.
what the shame is the fact is,
Yeah.
as a child, you remember just Jamaican, and they've had this history, and we want to see them evolve. Even on the conversations when we go there and we speak to
Yeah.
them, we don't want them to run into that brick wall of seeing outside money interfere with the history of what they've been able to do in that island.
Yeah.
You know, in that country, it's absolutely amazing.
Well,
But
I know
they
you-
really need to take advantage of that.
You've had really good conversation with Ross Iav and Orville Silvera in Jamaica,
Yes.
and actually Ross Iav's son Tesfa is going to be coming on the show as well.
Nice.
He's working with his father on the Ganja Cup, which happens in December. So
That's
we've
gonna be
mentioned
pretty
it
cool.
Before, so Green Roads will be involved in that Ganja Cup, and you know we've positioned having a CBD portion. As far as judging CBD products and testing CBD
Oh,
products.
well, you know, we're all in.
Arby's all about
You know, we're all in
testing
on that.
CBD products because, you know, there are some bad actors and we like to hold ourselves to a very high standard. So that's going to be really exciting. A lot of interaction in Jamaica. Another shout out to Billy Reynolds, who is my director for Canada, one of my directors for Canada Headhunters down there, and he's going to be selling Green Roads products once they're registered there. Douglas Gordon, who is a distributor for us in Jamaica, and we're all working towards that registration. So the Caribbean will finally have access to CBD products that are medicinal, high quality from the Green Roads brand, and that's what we're working
Shout out
towards.
Green Roads.
Yeah, shout out to Green Roads.
Green Roads.
So from Jamaica, after I came from a concert at 10 in the morning and barely caught my flight from Montego Bay.
Where'd we go next?
We went to Canada.
Yes.
So I met up with my brother
Yep.
in Canada at the airport. We flew together.
Yep,
Actually,
yep.
I wasn't even sure where I was flying
She
from.
was definitely a little dazed and confused, or either that or medicated.
I was like, I don't think we're leaving from the same airport. And I'm like, wait, let me look. And we were leaving out of Miami, which is where my car's been for a week. So and I just picked it up 2 a.m. But yeah,
and she ain't lying.
It's true.
She
I had a
ain't
rental
lying.
car even when I was here. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But yeah, Canada is great. We're talking to fantastic partners out there as far as understanding their market. So we talked about there's money there. There's a lot of interest in the U.S. market, but we want to
take our stuff there. Exactly. So which is also another shame that there's, you know, I was reading an article on Herb, which is a great, you know, you should follow him definitely.
Mm-hmm.
They had an article that came out where they arrested more people. I mean, it's been the least amount of arrests since 1995, but they arrested 55,000 people for some type of possession.
In Canada.
In Canada.
Yeah.
And
legal.
they're like, they're saying that
They're
not till
transitioning
July.
to recreational.
They're basically saying not till July, and before
Right.
July, whatever you do right now, you're going to get arrested.
Right.
So they're spending millions of dollars, just like the United States. Same thing. They're fighting two wars: once against opiates, and then taking away the Cole memo. It makes no sense. I mean, there's people that are in favor for that,
Right.
Or look at it in a different way, which I do. I think that it opens up to make Congress in the United States force their hands
Right.
into legalizing or decriminalizing cannabis. And the real danger here is the opiate addiction that's been affecting serious epidemic in this country that really, they speak about it and it kind of goes away. But if you put the amount of caskets, and just visualize this for
Wow.
1 second, you visualize 47,000 people. So visualize 47,000 caskets, families, friends, cousins, aunts, sisters, and brothers that have been affected by this. No matter what race, what religion, what color you are, the fact is that this is the true drug. This is the true problem that the United States is going through.
Yep.
And they should look at cannabis as a solution. They don't say it much, but they are doing testing through certain universities to see the effects. And many states have already shown the effects. They've been testing it for 3 years, and we'll get into that a little bit later, Russ. But what else? What else did you?
Yeah, no, I was on your point. Like when we were going through the town hall cycle when session was out, one of the town halls that we attended was in Royal Palm Beach with Senator Bobby Powell and Representative Matt Wilhite. And Matt Wilhite said basically we have this opiate epidemic, and we're fighting over access to marijuana, which hasn't killed anyone. So people are legislators are coming around to it. We attended once we came back from Canada on Tuesday, I was able to go to the NCIA, the National Cannabis Industry Association's event in West Palm Beach. A lot of the players in the local cannabis industry was there. It's good to see another organization. It's not competitive. There's as Arby always says, there's a tremendous need for education. So, we consider all these organizations, FCCC, what Cannabis Life Radio does, NCIA, Minorities for Medical Marijuana. All these organizations are pushing forward with educating people,
yes.
And it can't hurt. So it was great to see a presence from NCIA there. Michael Minardi spoke, and Eric Stevens spoke, and there were a lot of new faces, people who were interested in learning about the business and getting involved with the industry. So it was a fantastic event held at the Embassy Suites right here in West Palm Beach. And from there, we went to Orlando,
which if you didn't let me know, I would have probably still been in Weston. No joke. You called me up. You're like, you're speaking. I'm like, at what time? 5 o'clock. I'm like, Jess, get in the car. Yeah. Just pack a bag. We're out of here. Yeah. So it was. We rushed down there.
Thanks
and
for being so flexible.
I figured that you and Laura, the commander-in-chief, had it handled. And next thing I know, I see my name on a thing there, so we definitely went there, and it was a blessing that we did, because it was so enjoyable to watch, everything going on, and people coming from outside the state, grower from New York, Senator Tom Davis from South Carolina. So you had so many people involved in this, and really speaking on compliance,
right?
Which is cool.
It was the Canna East Compliance Conference. There was one on the West Coast, I think, in California a few months ago. The first I got wind of this conference, I got a heads up from Chris Martinez, and he's like, "You really want to go to this conference?" And then, it was just a done deal as far as Green Road support. We are one of the sponsors, the only CBD company present with a table sponsoring the conference. And again, it shows that Green Roads is not afraid to be visible in the testing arena.
Oh, yeah.
All the other tables were about compliance, testing labs, accreditation of testing labs. And, CBD, it can be controversial because of the fact there are bad actors, but Green Rose was just very bold.
Dead center.
Very, very dead center and very supportive. In addition to that, we hosted the reception. So Arby got an opportunity to speak and welcome people to the reception, and gave a great speech about, listen, at the end of the day, it's about this opiate epidemic. It's about people dying. It's about families losing people they care about. And I think you did a great job. I don't know if you want to give a highlight of some of your talking points.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Round of applause.
Very proud of you. It was well received.
It was definitely not me. It was always coached by the best, because I'm surrounded by the best, as you know, and I always shout out, you're as good as the people you surround yourself with. So I've been blessed to be surrounded by amazing people. The fact is that it is passionate for me, and it is personal, because as I've disclosed many times, I was an opiate addict due to what happened here in Florida with the pain managements and all that stuff. And I was one of the bad contributors. I'm not ashamed to say that now, and I could say that today because of what we're pushing forward and what we're trying to do. And when we started in the CBD business, there was nobody that was in this space. There was 2012. Everybody was looking at us like we were crazy.
Right.
Like, why would you even want this? This is not going to get you high. And I said, because not everybody wants to get high.
Right.
And that was our calling. That was our chant. That's how we kept on pushing forward until people really started to realize that this was an option, and this is a true option. So that's why when it comes down to being in the middle of compliance, we have no fear, because we have somebody that's been working with this type of product and these type of oils for 5-6 years now.
Right.
And she's a pharmacist, and she's a professional, and she's a perfectionist. And that actually ended up being an amazing thing, because you going to Iowa, next thing you know, you're sitting next to Ray Mayer, which is Randy Mayer, which is one of the heads
of the chief of the Iowa Department of Public Health, as far as like HIV and AIDS and hepatitis and other illnesses. But he kind of is looked at as, and that became clear when I went to Iowa, as the expert on how they lay out their cannabis programs.
And let's tell the people the audience a little bit of why Iowa.
Yes.
We've had a couple issues in Iowa, just like we've had in Nebraska, where we've gone out there to help and represent a consumer or a distributor or a store that's been selling CBD and has been targeted. So we've built a team to go out there and educate, not go out there forcefully, but just say, hey, this is what's going on. Including now February 15th, you have 28 congressmen, 6 Republicans, 22 Democrats that are going out and saying on the lawsuit for CBD, saying, DEA, you're overstepping your bounds.
Right.
You know, so what we're trying to do in Iowa, which is incredible, and you know, it's just amazing how you ended up being in the middle, and somebody from Iowa was at this conference, and you were going to Iowa at 4 o'clock in the morning.
And sitting at Laura's table for lunch and having that, and being so open. I really want to recognize Randy for, one, seeking the information and really understanding before making any erroneous decisions with regards to CBD and patient access and THC products, by seeking out the information and going to this compliance conference. And then when I did go up to him, I'm going to use a New York term. When I bum rushed him, when I bum rushed him, he was very open, and we shared some jokes. And he was at our Green Roads reception and very open to feedback, and really is just interested in doing the right thing for the people and, identifying the right law. So, Laura, in her wisdom, she was able to point out some things that are a little archaic as far as, things on the DEA's website with regards to, stalks and stems, you can't get enough CBD from that. Well, again, with the equipment we have now, yes, you can. Right. So
there's many different ways, and people just don't understand the fact. And we had some pretty not heated, but pretty good discussions during the conference. People don't understand that you could get CBD from many different avenues. Yes. And they don't understand that there's a lot of things out there that are medicinal towards your naturally endocannabinoid system. So the fact is that it's just education. It's just making these people, talking to them, showing them, and then testing. Which I think is always going to be the number one thing, is testing the products, making sure there's no THC in the product. And then after that, I think they're more understanding. And then how were they? Because I know that Randy called Iowa and let them know that you were on the way there. They're like, listen, they're coming.
Yes, I spoke to Sarah when I got there after the meeting, and she's the director for their programs there, and she was leading the discussion for the most part. And she's like, yeah, Randy told me you were coming, and I was like, yeah, he said that. And they were really open and warm. And as these states come online, especially more with the THC space, there's always going to be that question of, but what about CBD? Where does it land? Where is it supposed to sit? And then we are creating this roadmap and blueprint for how we educate the legislators state by state by state on the fact that CBD is nutritional, it is medicinal, it is important for patients to have access to, and not every patient wants a THC product. So we're kind of formulating our program around that, an educational program for the rule makers, and we're very open to being engaged. We're very open to consulting with these legislators as they roll out their programs. Arby has a tremendous amount of experience on both the THC as well as the CBD space, and a number of individuals within our organization has that type of experience.
And the crazy part is, too, and I want to mention this, is that we're now having conversations with companies of THC that feel threatened by what we are doing, and we've reached out to them and told them this is a completely different avenue. This is not something, we are actually pushing the envelope for you guys in certain instances, and educating and spending the money. In
this instance.
And we've been in this business for 6 years while the rules weren't even made in the state of Florida. We were already incorporated. And we're just trying to open those doors. And that was a good conversation I had with Kim Rivers from Truly Physician. We're just opening doors, and we're continuing to push the same agenda that you are. And, that is the same. We're trying to educate. We're trying to get over this opiate epidemic, which Florida has a huge problem with that also. So, we're on the same boat. We're just attacking this in two different avenues. But at the end, if we come together as a unit, we're more powerful and we're stronger together. Financially, educational-wise, our outreach to certain demographics, whether it's inside a lower demographic to the highest demographic, to the people who want to invest, the people who just want to educate themselves, we're providing this type of education, and we're not scared to do it. And I think it's important for them to realize that. And then I know that they have a lot of regulations over their heads where they can't really market or advertise as much as they really would want to. But I know that True Leaf is going to come out and be strong. And I'm hoping that they get other, competition, only because competition creates greatness. And I think at that point in time, the more competition that we have in the state of Florida and the more access that patients have, the better product that we're going to end up having.
Yeah.
So that's important.
It's great you said that. When I was in Iowa at the meeting, they have one license holder, which is MedFarm, and they were there as well. So I was like, yeah, this is what we do. We have experience. We can tell you how things work in different states. We will support, their main thing that they're asking for is, why are you capping us at 3%? There are patients who need more than that.
That's
and,
crazy.
and we're going to support that in them in that effort because it's the right thing to do. And then we're just asking for that support as well as far as our CBD space being
Yeah,
open
we got to
to
open the
good
door up a
players.
little bit for them and give them
Yeah.
just that knowledge and just really sit them down. We're going to be doing that in Nebraska with
Yes.
the Ladies of Liberty, which are completely against cannabis, against anything that has to do with the plant. But we're going to go out there and all we want to do is just sit down, just hear us out. Let's have a conversation and talk about how we could teach you or educate each other on what your problems are and how we could solve them, and vice versa. So I think it's going to be interesting, Nebraska.
Yeah, you are currently. Oh, I wanted to tell you, we got stuff coming up. We got,
do we got?
Arby's mail sack. We're going to talk about. Yeah,
You're surprising me, man. You just popped it off.
All of a sudden, I woke up. It's my turn.
Coffee.
We got to talk about the deadly opioid epidemic and how
Yes.
cannabis can get involved in this and try to solve some of these issues.
Let's mitigate this issue.
Yeah.
Let's let people enjoy their family members.
We'll take some questions and
questions
and winners
and
giveaways.
and don't forget Trey Esterels is here.
Well,
What?
I'm always
he's
forgetting
in.
Trey. You are currently
love
tuned to
Trey.
Cannabis Life Radio, brought to you by
Green Roads World.
Green Roads World is recognized as one of the world's leading suppliers of CBD products, and Cannabis Life Radio is giving away Green Roads CBD products every week. To join, just tune in our Facebook Live broadcast every Saturday morning at 10 and follow the instructions on air and in the comment section. Cannabis Life Radio is teaming up with Green Roads World to give you free CBD. Good luck from Cannabis Life Radio and Green Roads World.
Across the state to across the country, the Hemp Kings is your online home for hemp oil products. From organic hemp oil to intense concentrates, there is only one name you need to remember. The Hemp Kings.
The Hemp King.
Our hemp cream pain blaster lotions uses natural essential oils to deliver hemp's natural pain reliever directly to the site of inflammation for long-lasting relief. Now, our pain blaster hemp cream has now gone to the extreme.
Extreme.
Extreme!
Extreme.
New Pain Blaster Extreme Cream delivers even more relief, even faster! The best hemp products at the best prices delivered anywhere in the continental U.S. TheHempKings.com!
TheHempKings.com.
As a loving pet owner, you want to treat your senior dog for dysplasia, neuropathy, and joint discomfort with minimal traditional chemical medication. And as loving pet owners, we at King Canine agree, and we're excited to make our signature CBD line available to you. Derived from all-natural cannabidiol compounds, lab-tested, non-GMO, plant-based, cutting-edge King Calm CBD reduces inflammation and discomfort naturally, and even reduces anxiety from fireworks and thunderstorms. Go to KingCanine.com. That's KingKanine for details. And browse a full line of products like King Calm De-Shedder, King Calm Balm, and King Clean Shampoo for pet wellness inside and out. Order now using the code BARK20 for an exclusive 20% discount. KingKanine.com. King Calm CBD and the rest of our natural cannabidiol products. King Canine for natural pet wellness inside and out.
Florida Home Grow is the state's #1 seller of hemp oil products. Stop by and check out their organic hemp oil, capsules, and pain-killing topical lotions. Enjoy a complimentary cup of fresh organic coffee when checking out our beautiful showroom. Florida Home Grow also carries unique hemp items like jewelry, soaps, clothing, and accessories. Don't forget to try refreshing natural lemonade or delicious ice cream sandwiches. Florida Home Grow is conveniently located on Lake Worth Road between Jog and the Turnpike. We are the #1 sellers of hemp oil products because our stuff works.
This is the radio show people talk about all week long. This is Cannabis Life Radio.
Bong it.
Bong cruise.
The bong.
Oh my goodness. Cannabis Life Radio
Do people do that anymore? Did anybody's like uses bongs?
Oh,
All I hear
yeah.
is rigs now.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
think
about rigs.
They do. I saw this guy. He was
I'm old
using a
school.
bong with the hottest pepper on the planet.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was so funny.
That's a little dangerous there.
It was
Little
very
tasty.
dangerous. Don't try that at
Spicy.
home.
Do not try
And
that
he
at
was
home.
drinking tons of water after. It's like he was literally dying.
Yeah.
So
Well,
don't
I
experiment
haven't
with
seen a
yourself,
bong
but-
in a long time. I mean, I see a lot of rigs, but
Here,
maybe
I
I'm
see
just
them on the
old.
internet.
Let me show you on my phone. I got some.
You got some?
Yeah, I got some
You-
pictures.
Oh, is it pretty?
Yeah, it's
All
very
right.
nice.
That's cool. I like that.
Cannabis Life Radio is on the air. This is Florida's original OG
OG.
Cannabis Radio program. I'm Leon Hamilton along with Arby Barroso and Cheryl Murray Powell, and we want to get into the opiate crisis. How many people are dying a day?
Too many.
Okay.
And I got Richard O'Neill saying Ohio is confused. Yes, they are very confused. And
Why is
we'll
Ohio
start-
confused?
Ohio's confused if you look at their numbers, and I think I've said this on the radio before. They have a population of 11 million.
Right.
I was actually speaking to a gentleman at the summit on Thursday or Friday, where basically we were talking about this. They wrote 793 million OxyContins in Ohio. You could literally go and deliver a bottle to each individual person that lives in Ohio. So you're talking about all these Midwestern states from Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Missouri, Iowa, and horrible debt. I mean, you're talking this year, 2017 is going to be plus 60,000. So just again, imagine that. Close your eyes and imagine 60,000 coffins, and then all the families attached to that coffin.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're really talking about. We're not talking about cannabis. Cannabis has zero. You don't see a coffin next to cannabis.
No.
You see coffins next to opiates, OxyContins, and when you and this is one of the things that I spoke about when they gave me the opportunity to speak in front of these professionals and people in this industry and from Christian Backs, its Department of Health and stuff like that. The fact is that when you could get a pill and smoke it on aluminum foil,
Yeah.
put it in a thing, a spoon of water, and shoot it up,
It's ridiculous.
crush it down, and snort it like cocaine, that is a drug.
Yeah.
That is a street drug. That is not a prescription drug.
No.
That is a street drug that was created by a pharma company that could hide within the FDA regulations because it's gotten approved.
Right.
So I look at that as a street drug because I used to snort it, never smoked it, and never shot it up because I was terrified of needles.
Right.
And the fact is that this is what people are doing. They go from opiate that becomes expensive when they go out and the state calls a state emergency. Now the price on the black market shoots through the roof.
Right.
Goes to $1 a milligram, $30 a pill. And then all of a sudden you got people going to states in the Midwestern states where they're selling them for $3 in the pharmacies or getting a copay for $10. And the people are getting 100 and something and then they're turning around and selling them in the street.
Right.
And then when they run out and you're going through withdrawals in opiates, which people who have been through this, and I have, is one of the worst things that you could ever go through.
Yeah.
They turn to heroin because it's cheaper for them to go there. And I'll give us a quick story where I saw my light, and I was in jail with a 19-year-old who had stolen the pills from his mother. Okay, and this is when I literally was just like dumbfounded. I knew that there was something that I needed to change in my life, which was pretty tough. And every time I put myself in that scenario, I was with him for 3 days, and he was 19 years old in jail because he had stolen his mom's OxyContins and went through withdrawals, realized, got on the computer, realized, went to a place where he bought heroin and started shooting up. Now you're talking about a 19-year-old child, really,
Right.
that ended up getting hooked on something like this, and it was the cause of finding his mom's prescription in the medicine cabinet. And that's where it usually begins, is inside your family's home.
Right.
They'll go through your pills. Kids, we're just kids. We were kids once ourselves. We get curious. Next thing you know, you read something, you Google it, especially with all the social media you have out there now, and now you're creating a problem.
Right.
That's where they need to go. So this whole campaign against opiates, what pisses me off is the fact that they're going after the consumer, they're going after the people that are actually taking it. Why don't you go after pharma?
Yeah.
And tell them,
Right.
we want you to coat this. We want you to make sure that you can't snort this or shoot this or put something in there. And there's easy ways to go about it.
Right.
Make an exception through the FDA because they have a certain patent or trademark the way they make it, which is fine. So let's legislate, hey, you know what? We're going to allow you to make a change into this so you could coat the pill and we're still going to allow you to be able to sell it.
Right.
If you do that, we would definitely decline on the matter of opiate addiction and people going to buy specific types of opiate pills because they know that they could do certain things with those drugs.
Right, but it started with you with a prescription, correct? It's just like with
I was on Percocets. I got 3 hip replacements. I played football.
like Tom Petty.
It's
Tom
like
Petty, his
20-something
family
plus
just-
years ago. And Trey will get into that on the sports side of what ends up happening. I mean, you're athletic. I wasn't into drugs in high school. It wasn't my thing, but I did shoot up. I wanted to play, and I wanted to play at my highest levels. And they call that cheating, but other people might call it, listen, you're trying to be successful at what you're trying to do.
Well, and everyone does it. That's
And you're trying to compete
everybody's-
with the next person.
Between the
so-
shot and the pills and everything, and that's part of the sports culture. Is,
Yeah.
making these gladiators as strong as possible for as long as possible and play as hard as possible. So. That's pretty typical, actually.
Right.
The pill culture that you're referring to, one thing that I don't like is starting that pill-taking brainwashing for children. So I'm really, really strict with my son. I do not give him medication, unless, like, if he has a fever, that's it. He will take his vitamins, but I'm not into giving him the message that if you don't feel good, take a pill.
Exactly.
Because when you start with that messaging, it carries on throughout life. If he doesn't feel well, we talk about it. We can go walking. Whatever is needed. CBD gummies also. Whatever is needed. But I'm not into the pill taking mindset for my child. And then we've talked about how foster children tend to have three times as many foster children are put on medication and drugs. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Why they're just medicating these kids, rocking them to sleep and numbing them so they don't feel anything. They don't go through the highs and lows of life because they stay medicated. Then we see it on the other end of the spectrum, which is with our elderly.
Yeah, you walk into an ALF and it's like you're walking like zombies. They medicate these people. We've gotten a lot of letters from people that have taken away those type of medications and have enjoyed the last 6 months of somebody's life because they haven't been zoned out on whatever medications that they're hitting them up with.
Right.
And they're all set up just to bill out. That's why you have these people getting arrested for, Medicaid fraud and this type of fraud because it's a problem. Right. And we need to attack the problem. When you're going after, I was watching a program last night when I got in the Cali Cartel or Pablo Escobar. You're going to go after the actual producer, the person who makes that. You're not going after the guy who's buying it and snorting it in the corner. You're going after the main producer. So why are they not going after and making rules and regulations for the people that are making this product? That is my question. That is my biggest question because every day that goes by, 5 people die per hour.
Yeah.
That is the facts. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You can't lie about it. You can't hide it. I'm pretty sure that everybody in this room or somebody or 90% of the people in this room have been impacted one way or the other by knowing somebody that's either passed away or has a problem with opiate addiction. Just like our viewers, if you ask that question right now, I guarantee you, take a poll, and I guarantee you that somebody knows somebody that's either passed away or has a pill problem.
All right.
Yeah.
And, we're not trying to depict pharma as the big villain. We're saying that we're at the point in the evolution of knowledge and health and wellness where we need to look at alternatives.
I said it when I spoke the other day. I said pharma has a place in cannabis.
Yes.
They
right,
have amazing scientists. They that's what they do. But the fact is that right now they've created something that is a problem. And they need to recognize the problem, that it's not a doctor, because they preach to the doctor that this was non-addictive, that they're not going to have an issue with this, just prescribe it, let it go, keep doing what you need to do. You have Incest, which is a publicly traded company that went through their whole scandal because they had a bunch of people arrested from their corporation for giving kickbacks to doctors for giving fentanyl patches and pills. And yet, in March of 2017, the FDA gives them a synthetic THC approval for some type of drug that they approved. So again, we need to keep an eye on them. They need to be called out because they need to be regulated. Just like the cannabis industry has to have some type of regulation, so we know that what we're taking is good. They need to be regulated also.
Yeah.
And that's really, they need to be called out on that.
Okay, Tom Petty's family put out a statement today listing the drugs that he was on when he died. He was on fentanyl patches, oxycodone, OxyContin, temazepam, azapram, which is Xanax, what is this one? Citalopram? Celexa. Acetyl fentanyl and disopropanil fentanyl. So three
That's a
different
lot of
kinds of
fentanyl.
fentanyl. And he was
I mean,
on
look
when
at
he
it. You
died.
got Heath Ledger. You got a
Yes,
plethora
that's
of
a loss.
people
Right.
that have passed away that are, in the public's eye.
Right, but the family of Tom Petty wants his name out there so that people can discuss this. That's
Right.
the difference. Little Peep and Prince, they tried to
Yep.
hide this stuff. His family is going out of their way to try to make this an awareness type issue so we can try to use his death as a point to try to solve this issue. I just don't understand. He's a resident of Florida, correct? Why couldn't he?
Who, Tom Petty?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
I-
resident
I-
of Gainesville, I think. Why couldn't he get his medical marijuana card?
Well, if he was enlightened, if he had the information, we really need to educate more. We're seeing where, because the change in the certification for physicians for the medical marijuana program, we lost a third of our recommending physicians. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem.
They're the gatekeeper
Yeah.
for patients having access. People have been seeing doctors for all their lives, especially the elderly, and then their doctors aren't recommending, and then they have to try to find new doctors. We need to make sure that we educate the physicians and that they're not standing in the way, that they are actually, regardless of how they personally feel, that they are open to recommending for the patients that need it and that can get recover from their illnesses in a healthy way without having this addiction issue.
Yeah.
I was talking to a doctor the other day that said that she's stopping giving prescriptions or recommendations for cannabis because of the paperwork. That's all she said. She said just the
Wow.
A
paperwork.
lot of people are saying that, and it's unfortunate that they have to do all this paperwork in order to recommend, but then when it comes to giving out pharmaceuticals,
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, it's a
there's-
5-minute prescription. I mean,
Right.
they
get
say
a bonus. They get a
7
trip to
minutes, 5
Jamaica.
prescriptions is what a doctor usually gives. In 7 minutes, 5 prescriptions.
Crazy.
We have to just continue to raise awareness on this issue. We're planning to do a lobby day February 13th. I know it's not a lot of notice, but we'd like to have people meet up in D.C. and talk to the legislators about, access to marijuana, support Cory Booker's Marijuana Justice Act that he's proposed. I saw a video on Facebook on his page where he's met with Representative Barbara Lee. So it's going to be introduced on the House side as well as the Senate side. So that's really important. We need to support that legislation. If we believe in this industry like we say we're invested, we need to support Cory Booker's Marijuana Justice Act, which will allow for legalization, and that's truly decriminalization, where people who have had these offenses will be allowed to get their lives back.
Yeah.
In addition, we have House Bill 3530, which is legalization of hemp and CBD, and we need that more than anything because there's so many people who are ill and this opiate issue. So we're going to be lobbying on those two issues, and then we also have we'll talk a little bit later about the Green Heart Date, February 14th, supporting Jose Bellin and Sebastian Cote and Marvin Washington in New York. And then the 15th, we had
Yes,
case in
that's
San Francisco.
Yes, and February 15th is also D-Day for the lawsuit for the CBD,
Right.
where you had the lawsuit against the DEA. So there's a lot of things going on now and coming up. 2018 is going to be an interesting year.
We got to show up.
Everybody
I
needs to
plan on
show
being
up.
here.
So that's the other calling, is people need to show up and make their voices heard. And it's really, again, shame on us if we don't help this pass in any which way that we can. Everybody needs to show up. You need to call your representatives. You need to call your mayors, your councilmen, your House representatives. I see Al Jaquette, I think, might have joined today. I think today's his birthday.
His birthday.
Today's a shout out to Al
Happy birthday
Jaquette,
to
which is a
you.
big advocate for what we're trying to do. And Senator Roussan. So, shout out to them. Make sure that you go out and you vote. Vote for the people that are looking to help. No matter what party it is, Republican or Democrat or Libertarian, however it wants to go, the fact is that look at the issues that they stand for, and we put them in power. we don't work for them. They work for us. So they need to hear our voices. So make sure you make those calls.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you were going to go for a break, but I was
Not yet.
also in Tallahassee this week. I forgot.
You forgot. I figured you would forget. I mean, you've been to so many places in a week.
Yeah,
World traveler.
we had Minorities for Medical Marijuana and Florida for Care. We had a lobby day in Tallahassee. Both of the gentlemen, Representative Jaquette and Senator Rousseau, I saw them. I was with Senator Powell's staff as well. So we definitely made sure that we supported those who supported us. So that happened this week. There's another lobby day that is going to be a Regulate Florida normal lobby day in Florida on February 22nd, which is my birthday. I'll be in Vegas.
Ooh,
But
party.
but yeah, there's a lot of lobby days. Pay attention to that happening. Our producer found that one study out of Washington dispensaries, they surveyed 3,000 legal users of marijuana, and they were recruited at the dispensaries or by social media. And 36% said they used marijuana to replace opioids.
Yep.
So that just solidifies that marijuana, cannabis, THC products, CBD products are the exit drug. They are not the gateway drug. They are the exit drug from this opiate addiction. 36% is
That's
really significant.
huge. That was huge, and that was by Vice that came out with an article speaking about the 3,000 people that they studied, and again, 36%. That is a big number.
That's a huge number.
That is a huge number
And
of
lives
people.
saved.
And lives saved.
Because that translates to lives saved. Because if they're using marijuana instead of opioids, then there isn't that overdose risk.
Correct. That's I think it's 1,800, and $1 billion is what we would save through Medicare. Is what we would save if we would just use cannabis. And again, I'm for obviously decriminalization. Grow it in your house. Have a limitation of what you can grow. Let's put those rules in place. And again, once you take that out, you take the black market out of the game, because who's really going to go into your house and take your plant when anybody could grow it?
Right.
So it's just like anything else, and that'll bring farming back. That'll bring jobs back, whether it's on the hemp side or the cannabis side. The fact is that it's employment opportunities, and as Green Roads, with everybody that we have around us, we have about 100 people. So that's 100 families that we are helping one way or the other. They pay their bills, they pay their car, they pay their houses, and we're just one company. And growing. So that is huge when you take a step back and you see the amount of presence that the cannabis or hemp industry could have with just one company. And we've dedicated ourselves to that. So it's a shout out to Green Road, shout out to all our sales guys who really believed in what we've been able to do and reach out, including our marketing guys. Shout out to Herb. That continues, and we met with them the other day. Amazing people. They have a huge outreach on education, which is very big for us. Vice has had their programs that are up. So just get educated on that. If you're ignorant, just read a book, man. Read a book of history, because it was here. The government made it illegal. Take a second, read a book, and educate yourself. And I think you'll change your mind as soon as you go through that.
That's why I'm really excited about our Hemp for Victory campaign that we're working on. You're on the board. I'm on the board. Shout out to Michael Bowman for organizing the group that's going to be working on that. And we're going to just reinvigorate the education about hemp, the history of it being legal, not legal, legal to the point that it was a mandate, being made illegal, and then in wartime made legal again until they didn't need the
rope.
The rope from hemp. Yeah. So you'll see more about that campaign, which will happen throughout this year, the 75th anniversary of Hemp for Victory. We're going to engage all the CBD companies, all the hemp-related companies. We're going to unify. We're going to lobby. We're going to educate together as a unit. We're going to get rid of threats so that we can move to the next period, this next era of a full access and legalization for whether it's for agricultural products, building products, all the 50,000 uses of hemp. We're going to support those that are in that industry so that we can live a cleaner life as a country.
Do you think that? Do you guys think that the fact that people can't get prescribed cannabis for pain, that's actually making the opiate crisis worse?
In this state?
I
or-
think
Yeah.
1,000%. I mean, it's definitely, if you can't get
So they're
something,
contributing.
you got to be able to. People live with pain every day. There's certain people that could deal with a certain threshold of pain. But the fact is that they're going to look for comfort. They got to pay their bills. They got to go to work. They got to
Yeah.
get up in the morning. They got to do their daily lives. And if you're dealing with chronic pain, which is real, okay, so people are not, there's obviously that epidemic, and you need something medically, whether it's cannabis or something else, but let's just make sure that it's not causing this type of epidemic.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. We're not saying, hey, stop all pain pills, cannabis
No.
is the way to go.
Absolutely
It's
not.
not what we're saying. What we're saying is we need to be able to regulate this for it not to be 60,000 plus people dying a year on overdoses between opiates and heroin.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
And we need to be more vigilant and keep a closer eye on the very young and their introduction to, pharmaceuticals, and also the very old that may not be able to defend themselves, speak for themselves, and how they're being medicated, sedated. So I think we just need to have extra eyes on those two vulnerable groups of the population.
Absolutely. I mean, and Trey will get into this. We've talked about, colleges, and let's bring it down to
Yes.
high school.
Yes.
They're saying 23%. I think they're full of crap. I think it's higher than that. But the fact is, they're saying 23% of 594,000 student athletes are prescribed a opiate or a pain pill narcotic.
Oh, it's definitely higher than that.
It's so imagine where it goes down to high school, and we've seen the
Yeah.
stories on 60 Minutes or on a show or on a program where you've seen these high school kids that had all this talent. They get hurt during a game. The coaches need them in there. They might be running for state, and they're going to shoot them up. They're going to do whatever they could do to get that person into play.
Right.
And that's where that person's life goes from that to death. And there's a lot of players, including our condolences to the Washington State college quarterback that just took his life.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that go on that are, caught up in this whole, thing. And there's going to be a lot of people exposed, and there's going to be a lot of things that happen. But it's the cost. And if we're truly believing on cannabis and it being helpful, there's going to be people that are going to take some serious hits this year.
I was on the plane last night from Iowa. I had a layover in Chicago. I was sitting next to another attorney, and he was from Chicago. And we were talking about cannabis. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you in the space, et cetera, and so on." But he was talking about Chicago and like the needs of Chicago, to the point that we've heard Chance the Rapper donated millions to keep schools open, to the school board himself. Cannabis can remedy so many issues in a city like Chicago, where they need the funds for education and roads and public safety, et cetera. That's what's extremely frustrating to me is we have so much need here, and the dollars, and there are people, even Canada is willing to throw money into these industries and the economy, and we're like, no thanks, we don't want that money to fix so our kids can get a good education and to for our public services. We're as far as the federal government, we've seen a lot of cuts that affect vulnerable communities, affect low economic status individuals, but we're not seeing where they're open to where that money can be poured in. They say that by giving tax cuts to the rich, it'll trickle down. We haven't seen that historically, but we do know that where cannabis is legal, we see that cascade of funds to the services.
I'm one to going to agree on tax cut definitely funnels down, and our employees will be attest to that by bonuses that they receive this year. I think that just like in cannabis, it does trickle down, and it trickles down by us being able to hire more people and put more people to work and be out there.
Well, that's your heart. I'm talking about historically looking at tax cuts for the rich.
Yes.
Whether it's been it's always widened the divide between the poor and the rich.
I tend to maybe I have a different opinion on that, and we always tend to disagree on certain things. But I think what is happening right now, just with the growth that's happening in the cannabis industry and in tax cuts, we're able to provide big bonuses for this year, where people it's not out there as much, but the fact that people were able to get bonuses through certain companies, including our company. I mean,
I know your company.
We bonused everybody that works for us.
Right.
And we have 60 people, and everybody received a bonus for our company this year. So the fact is that I think it does, and I think, yes, cannabis is definitely going to have a huge impact, and it's had it in Colorado, where unemployment is down, and it happened in Kentucky with hemp, where unemployment is down, and I think that just needs to be all over the country.
Right.
And I think everybody should accept it, and I think by the end of this year, we're going to have 40 states involved. Right now, we're at 29, and there's no stopping it. The fact is how are we gonna impose this? They can't, make it a class schedule or a class narcotic. They need to decriminalize it completely across the board and then regulate it like alcohol, so everybody has access to it. And we could grow it if we choose to grow it. Trey will come in here. He was in Colorado. He has much experience in reference to that. We were in Colorado. We were able to do that in 2008, 2009, and the experience that's been able and the knowledge that's been able to grow from that point till today is absolutely amazing, including on the marketing side, the jobs that's been able to provide from our TFC marketing team that started off with 3. Now they're plus 20 people.
Right.
That's just on marketing on its own. So there's many opportunities in this industry.
I have more faith in cannabis than the rich.
Well, when
As
you're
far as
rich, you got to trust yourself.
Oh, my goodness.
So
Keeping your own money is a bad thing.
Well, we share. It's bad when you have too much of it, And I was watching a Tupac thing the other day where he was basically, preaching to the fact that you should share and you should feel bad if you got a pocket full of money and you see somebody in the street that needs $1 or needs some food.
By the way, I need $1.
Definitely. I always got your back.
Got your back.
Got your back.
You are. Oh, we want to talk about what's coming up.
Who knows? You lead us.
Listen, we've got Arby's Mail Sack. We've got Treyas Jarrell's.
We've got giveaways.
We've got giveaways. We've got Cheryl's closing arguments.
And I just want to shout out the people that put out here that have been clean and sober.
Congratulations.
That is a big shout out to the people that are posting. And it takes a lot of effort to say, hey, I've been clean.
That's right.
And congratulations to all the people that are posting that.
Yeah. We got to take a break. You are currently tuned to Cannabis Life Radio, brought to you by Green Roads World.
As a loving pet owner, you want to treat your senior dog for dysplasia, neuropathy, and joint discomfort with minimal traditional chemical medication. And as loving pet owners, we at King Canine agree, and we're excited to make our signature CBD line available to you. Derived from all-natural cannabidiol compounds, lab-tested, non-GMO, plant-based, cutting-edge King Calm CBD reduces inflammation and discomfort naturally, and even reduces anxiety from fireworks and thunderstorms. Go to KingCanine.com. That's KingKanine for details. And browse a full line of products like King Calm De-Shedder, King Calm Balm, and King Clean Shampoo for pet wellness inside and out. Order now using the code BARK20 for an exclusive 20% discount. KingKanine.com. King Calm CBD and the rest of our natural cannabidiol products. King Canine for natural pet wellness inside and out.
Across the state to across the country, the Hemp Kings is your online home for hemp oil products. From organic hemp oil to intense concentrates, there is only one name you need to remember. The Hemp Kings.
The Hemp Kings.
Our Hemp Cream Pain Blaster lotions uses natural essential oils to deliver hemp's natural pain reliever directly to the site of inflammation for long-lasting relief. Now, our Pain Blaster Hemp Cream has now gone to the extreme.
Extreme?
Extreme!
Extreme!
New Pain Blaster Extreme Cream delivers even more relief, even faster! The best hemp products at the best prices delivered anywhere in the continental U.S. TheHempKings.com!
TheHempKings.com!
Green Roads World is recognized as one of the world's leading suppliers of CBD products, and Cannabis Life Radio is giving away Green Road CBD products every week. To join, just tune in on our Facebook Live broadcast every Saturday morning at 10 and follow the instructions on air and in the comment section. Cannabis Life Radio is teaming up with Green Roads World to give you free CBD. Good luck from Cannabis Life Radio and Green Roads World.
Florida Home Grow is the state's #1 seller of hemp oil products. Stop by and check out their organic hemp oil, capsules, and pain-killing topical lotions. Enjoy a complimentary cup of fresh organic coffee when checking out our beautiful showroom. Florida Home Grow also carries unique hemp items like jewelry, soaps, clothing, and accessories. Don't forget to try refreshing natural lemonade or delicious ice cream sandwiches. Florida Home Grow is conveniently located on Lake Worth Road between Jog and the Turnpike. We are the #1 sellers of hemp oil products because our stuff works.
Nobody covers cannabis news like Cannabis Life Radio. Nobody.
You might want to put your headphones on.
That'd be a great idea, right? I'm sorry. I was
You're a little late on that. After
Yeah.
you put
I
it
was like
on.
slow motion.
Cannabis Life Radio is on the air. This is Florida's original, the OG
OGs.
Cannabis Radio program. Leon Hamilton along with Arby Barroso and Cheryl Murray Powell, along with another special guest, Treyas Jarrells is
Yes.
here. In-house, in studio, Mr.
Back
Treyas
in the
Jarrell.
studio where he belongs.
I've been here. I'm coming more and more.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's
more and
great.
more.
Part of the,
more and
you're part of the
more and
family,
Not on the
definitely.
He's
phone
definitely
anymore.
fam.
Not on the phone anymore. It's you could put a face to the name.
Yes. We want to talk about NCAA football and opiates and the opiate issue. So,
And your story, like
and
I
your
mean,
story. Yeah,
your-
basically go over the. I'm sorry, Arby. I
I got to step in.
Yeah.
I'm rude
correct
like
me.
that.
Yeah, he wants to correct me. Tell us your story, like the Reader's Digest version of what happened to
Right.
you when you got injured in college football.
I mean, like I tell a lot of people, I risked everything for this plant. And that's where I differ from a lot of people. I risked my life. If I wouldn't have left the house 15 minutes prior to CSU PD kicking in my door with assault rifles, right? I'm from Florida, from Sanford. I always believed in protecting myself, so of course I had a firearm in the house.
Right.
But just that look, me having a firearm,
Could have been killed.
I could have been killed that day, So that's why what I do, it's so much passion behind it because, I risk my face, my likeliness, my career, and a lot of people can't relate to that.
Right.
But it's fine though, because I don't do it because of the dollars and cents. Because if that was the case, I would have had a promo code on my Facebook, Instagram a long time ago, trying to sell product.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to change the game, right? Because I got loved ones that play the game, brothers, sisters, cousins, and not just football, just high impact sports in general. Now, because concussions, what they say, 7.4% of athletes that participate in collegiate football, they suffer from concussions. But that doesn't include, spring football, all of that. But that doesn't include the lower tier teams as well.
Right.
That when they throw out those statistics, they talk about the Power 5 schools, the SEC, the ACC, the
Right.
Pac-12, but they forget about the conferences.
Right.
So in my opinion, it's skewed. Those statistics are skewed
For a reason, though.
Right.
I mean, for a reason. And you played at a high division. You played
Right.
Division I ball.
Right.
So that's what people don't know. You didn't play for a small school. You played high impact,
Right.
big division.
Highly
And
competitive, so
highly
everyone's giving their
competitive.
all.
And possibly, you risked your life, and I want you to elaborate on that because the fact is that you could have probably gone to the next level.
Right, of course.
And you chose, probably your family and everybody else is like looking at you like, what are you doing?
Right.
So, talk about that because a lot of people go through that and they just don't speak about it. And you went through it personally.
Right, and I'm going to just speak on someone, Stevie K. She's an individual that I met, later on down the line in this journey, and she was one of those individuals that she was a victim of, cannabis. She was a cannabis user in school. She played volleyball, and, it was her medicine. It's how she got through. And it came to a point where it was her medicine or her career, and she chose her career for a brief moment until her health started declining. And it's like, hold on, is it really worth it? So she went back medicating, and it cost her career. She failed drug tests, and you get the boot.
But that's the whole thing. I mean, if they tested everybody
Right.
in professional sports, we would not be watching sports on TV at all.
Definitely not in basketball.
In
I can tell you that
basketball is-
personal. You're making fun of me for dancing or whatever. I can tell you personally, with personal knowledge, that whatever's going on as far as drug testing in the NBA, it's a joke. Every single person that I've known that is involved in the NBA uses cannabis.
Right.
Every
I'm
single
sure
one.
Soccer and it's just across sports.
Well, I know. I shouldn't be giving
played
too much.
soccer?
No, but what I want to say is there are people in the NBA, when you see somebody hit the floor hard, there are people in the NBA that you can watch in a game where they will take a player into the back room and they are using a vape product. I can tell you that right now.
All you got to do is look at Cam Newton during his game. He got crushed
Right.
during that hit.
Yeah.
He should have not been going back in that game.
He was done.
And he was done. And you could see his eyes when you came out, and the coach is like, and again, if you're a warrior and this is what you've been training for your whole life, you're in a playoff game.
Right.
You're not gonna walk away from that.
Right, but-
Right.
You're gonna go and do whatever you need to do and go back in the game. He had no right and reason to be back in that game.
Right.
And you could see how he ended that game.
Yeah.
You know, affected by that hit straight to the head.
The point I was trying to make is there are people that are saying that there's NBA players that don't use cannabis or whatever. There are people that are in the NBA that are using cannabis at the games.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
But
there
I'm
are
just saying
people
it's not
at the
isolated to
games
the NBA. I think
Yeah,
it's-
I think that-
medicating when
it's
they get
across the
injured.
board.
That's why they can snap back out of it after they hit the floor hard. That's what's going on. And if they want to be honest about it, if they expelled every player in the NBA that uses cannabis, there would be literally
Listen,
nobody
that would be
playing the
across,
game.
but that would
That'd
be
be
across
across
everything.
everything.
I mean,
Across
you're going
everything.
talking about high school ball,
Right.
all the way to college ball,
I
all the way
agree.
to professionals,
Right.
and that's where Trey went through
I
that.
didn't say
Right, but you
basketball.
don't see NBA players in trouble with these pills. That's the thing that the point that I'm trying to make is that there is a more of a prevalent use of cannabis behind the scenes
Right, in the NBA.
than
That's
there is
that's
in
a
the
good
NFL.
point by you.
That's a great point.
That's a
Thanks.
great point.
Every once in a while,
and
I come up
and
with
I know, and I medicated, before games, prior to games, practices,
Yeah.
meetings. It didn't matter. I mean,
24/7.
24/7. It is my medicine.
Me too.
And I can function and
Yeah.
do everything I need to do
Yeah.
under the influence. But back to what Aubrey was saying with the whole, Cam Newton, he had to get back in the game. Well, Dr. Nancy Chen of Santa Rosa College, she did a study, and it basically talked about how, athletes may suffer a concussion, but they don't come out of the game because of factors. So you have adrenaline, you're in the zone, in denial, a sense of commitment.
Right.
Depending on where you come from, you got more on the line, than just, I got rattled, let me come out the game. Because in the back of your head, you got family that's depending on you.
Absolutely.
Right?
And there's that pressure.
That is a big
Exactly.
pressure.
That's a huge pressure, and I dealt with that pressure. I've never been diagnosed with a concussion because I lived by what Dr. Nancy Chen spoke on. I had a lot to lose. I wasn't playing for myself. It was for my family, to get my family out the hood.
Right.
So, it was a sense of entitlement to stay on the field. So I would self-diagnose myself. I would say my name in my head. I would say my birthday, my social security number. Oh, I'm good.
Right.
But I don't know if I'm good or not.
Right.
I don't really know if that hit that I just
You've been
sustained.
playing since you were a young
Since
child.
I've been 7.
How many years is that,
Oh,
Trey, that you played?
16 years I played the game.
That is a lot of
You
years,
know?
man.
Yeah, banging, and
And you
growing-
played running
Always
back.
with the
running back.
NFL
And
in
you're
your-
playing
in your
running back.
sights.
right.
So you're getting clocked
Every play.
every play.
I'm blocking somebody, I'm getting hit because they think I got the ball. It's constant contact, all right? And, growing up playing ball, my neck always hurt. Like, I would run and I could feel pain in my neck because, we would bang. We were young. Nobody was teaching us head up. We were just hitting. You were hitting. You would do the rodeo, the bull. They were calling them. You would find them. It was gladiators out there.
Yes.
But this is 7, 6, 8, 9 years old, it's not supposed to be that way
And everybody's
at that
cheering
age.
you on.
Everybody's cheering you on, That's the only thing we're taught to do. Be an athlete.
Right.
Don't be an entrepreneur.
And that carries a lot of pressure, obviously, from your family. Where does your family stand now? Because I know we've had conversations
Right.
about where they're at now, like where they're present thinking about cannabis or CBD.
They're woke. That's what I like
They
to
woke
say.
up?
They woke up, But it took me going through what I went through and them seeing what I went through and the education that comes behind it to say, hold on, this kid may know what he's talking about.
Right.
But let me look deeper. Now my mom takes the Green Rose products. My little brothers take the Green Rose products. I make sure that if I can't touch everybody, I'm going to touch people that's close to me because I know what it can do. I know how it can be a neuroprotectant. And back to Dr. Yosef of Tel Aviv University, he did a study with mice. and he used cannabis. And basically what he found it is 1 to 3 days before contact, if you ingest cannabis, it develops a neuroprotectant, right? So it helps you when you get going to the contact phases. So 1 to 3 days after contact is good to ingest again. If you have any dead blood cells, anything going wrong up top, you have that treatment that can go in and
So it's
assist
preventative,
you. It's
and it's also a
repair.
treatment.
And it's already studies out that's already saying these things, and we're still trying to reinvent.
We're
the
still
wheel.
here preaching this thing, and it's just
Exactly.
all you
It's
need
right
to do
there.
is just read.
It's
Yeah,
right there.
What's law enforcement going to do to make money off these tickets and
Exactly.
the fines and the
I'll
jails
help them figure that out. I'll help them figure that out.
I think we can figure that out for them.
We can help them figure that out. But what we want to do is get these athletes an alternative.
Right.
as soon
And
as
that's
we
why
can.
the alternative right now, I mean, you see all these athletes talking about it on their Facebooks,
Right.
on their Instagram, Warren Saps, we
Right.
had Willis McGahee here,
Yeah.
all these guys, preaching and talking about this because they see it and they don't want to be part of the epidemic, and they
Right.
realize that it could destroy their family, their lives. So they're medicating.
Right.
They're medicating, and it's getting them through the day, and it's helping them. And these are people who've been playing 16, 17, 20 years of football.
Right.
You're waking up, you're doing weights, you're putting your helmet on, and you're banging your heads. Same thing with soccer. People don't talk about how much soccer, but soccer's the leading.
Yes, it is.
It's on top,
Leading,
and they
right.
don't talk about that.
As far as concussions.
As far as
Right.
concussions, I mean, it's a big problem, and I think we need to really figure it out. And I think this Super Bowl, there's going to be a lot of talk about it. I think
Oh, yes.
there's going to be a lot of events. We'll
Right.
be at the Pro Bowl.
We'll be at the Pro Bowl event.
Well, tell me about that. I don't know if you need me to come to the Pro Bowl. but-
I mean,
She knows all. Cheryl
I'll wear
knows
my
all about
cleats.
football.
Do you know what the Pro Bowl
She knows
is?
what a first
I'll
down
put on
is.
a jersey and cleats. And,
Do you know what the Pro Bowl is?
I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Let me guess. I want to hear your guess.
Pro Bowl is like a game where like a lot of people play football.
Yes.
Okay, that's
And
a
then
good start.
And then
Yeah.
it's like competing teams.
Right.
Okay,
And it's
yeah.
like certain
such an attorney
teams,
answer.
Certain
Such an
teams
attorney answer.
traditionally play over and over again.
Yeah. Well,
Or is it
We're
the best
close,
of the best?
we're close,
Is it the best of the
we're
best? Is it the best of the
The
best?
best of the
Yes.
best. The best of the best.
That is the
There you
best of the
go.
best.
Wow.
I
Bada
like
bing,
that.
bada
Look
boom.
at you. You see?
Best of the best.
And the most home runs
That's where
wins.
I want to be. We should have an attorney Pro Bowl. What?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that'd
CBD
be
Pro
great.
Bowl. What?
What?
But the current concussion protocol, it's not effective, it's not efficient, it's not certain, right? We got a diagnosis, right, where they do the concussion, the baseline test, and already we spoke about
Yeah.
the baseline
Right.
test. And I'm gonna speak out, and I know there's a lot of athletes that can relate. When we would take the baseline test at Colorado State, everybody would fail it on purpose. We would fail on purpose. Why? Because if we did face a concussion during the season, we would pass.
Wow.
So that the system right now is in
Wow.
place is getting finessed, right?
It is.
It's getting finessed right now.
Because athletes are super smart.
Super
we talked
smart.
about this last
They're-
year with all the
they-
playbooks and
Yes.
everything they have to memorize.
I mean,
and all
you're
that.
grinding for not
Yeah.
just for yourself, but imagine having to play for your family.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of people counting on you, including your teammates and everything that follows down from that.
And
But
the
go
fans.
ahead. I love
The
where you're going
advertisers.
with this, Trey.
Right. So you have the diagnosis aspect, which is finesse. So that's no longer effective in my opinion. And then you have their treatment, which is rest. So you put an athlete in a room for hours of a day, right? But you don't have no effective treatment, to heal this individual. So say you tear your ACL and you never go get you go get it diagnosed, so you'll get an MRI, but you never get the treatment, you never get the surgery. So how do you know that? How do you know that ACL is going to heal correctly?
Right.
You don't, right? So that's what's happening with these guys when they do have a concussion or even just the traumatic hits, right? Because that's what that CTE plays a part in that too. It's the traumatic hits, the repeated hits. It's just not the concussions. If there's no certainty that these guys are healing, then what are we doing? You know
That's
what I
why
mean?
your work with the alums is so important. The alums, the retirees, you do
Right.
a lot of work not only with current players at various levels, but also with the retirees, and they're in a lot of pain
Right.
because they did that. They sat in a room, or they just waited till I feel good enough to go back on the field, but they haven't healed themselves.
Right.
They haven't. They don't even want to hear the bad news.
Exactly.
I find like athletes that I speak to, my friends, they're like, I don't want any bad news. I don't want to know.
Right.
It's like, no, you got to know, so you
Right.
know what to do, so you'll be 100%.
Right.
If I can do my job at 80% or 70%, you're gonna keep pushing
You're gonna
forward
keep
because your
pushing, right.
family's relying on you.
Exactly. And back to Tyler Helinski, that's his name. That's the Washington State quarterback. My brother played at Washington State. He was friends with him. And, you know, I kind of talked to him, and he said he was, a good kid. You know, they didn't see that coming. And that's just like the video we watched with Owen Thomas. He played at Penn. And, you know, his mom, you know, talked about how he was a bright kid and never seen him going down that road. And all of a sudden he hanged himself. Right. And they're like, whoa, where does that come from? Right. And, you know, they donate his brain, and they do the tests on it. And Dr. Ann McKee, she's one of the leading doctors when it comes to, you know, concussions and CTE. They found that he had CTE, and he was 20 years old, you know.
Wow.
So, see, again.
Exactly. You know.
I mean, you got a lot of athletes that are not even allowing their child to play football. Yeah. I mean, you've had a decrease of like 17 to 20% in Pop Warner. They're pushing them in other directions because they realize themselves that this is a problem. Right. You know, and once you get into that sport, you're going to do anything that you need to do to be successful. Right. And an athlete, any type of athlete, when you're competing, you want to be the best, and that's what athletes try to do. So, you know, it's a high pressure, high impact. We need more athletes to speak out on this. They are doing it more behind the scenes, being part of the cannabis, or they're investing. I saw a post this morning, Mike Tyson's investing in the cannabis. That's great. But the fact is that let's provide the education. Exactly. Where'd you come from? You did boxing. Right. Well, why are you getting involved in cannabis? Same thing with these athletes that are going to be preaching at the Pro Bowl that we're next to. Talk about, you know, don't be scared. Come out of that cannabis closet, you know, or the CBD closet, or anything that's not typical in our society, and speak out, because that's the platform that's going to reach out to these people, you know. And we need these athletes that are retired, because the ones that are playing right now are playing for contracts. Exactly. They're terrified. And we have quite a few players that are playing for contracts right now that are using our products, and are using our products every day because they know they won't test positive. But they won't continue to go, and we can't get more into these type of professional sports unless their education's there. Exactly. You know, and that's really where we go with the alumni and the PAs, and
also reaching out to the agents, because they have
agents control everything.
Yeah, they have their clients who are suspended or going through rehab or going through these issues, and we're like, hey, we're here. We will give you product for your
absolutely. We sponsor a lot of people in professional sports right now.
And big shout out to Rose Management. Rose Management is a management firm based in Canada. One of the first firms that I've dealt with that deals with athletes, current athletes, entertainers, that's willing to, you know, educate their guys to get in the industry, you know, from an ambassador standpoint, investing. They're all in it. They're head first, you know, and that's big to me, you know, just because a lot of agents, they see it only for themselves. How can they benefit? Of course. Right. But these guys see, hold on, you know, this not only for the pockets, it can help these guys. It can extend their, you know, their careers. Absolutely. So let me get my guys involved, you know, so, you know, because it may benefit me in the long run, but let me think about, you know, their health first. So big shout out to Rose Management, Akeem, them over there. Really appreciate what you're doing, because they're bringing us athletes, current guys, you know, that's willing to come out and speak at these, you know, educational spaces and conferences to speak on behalf of CBD specifically. So big shout out to them.
That's a really important point. Is lasting possibly longer in individual sports is doing preventive medicine. And that's why we go to the doctors and we try to prevent stuff, because we're looking towards the future. Well, that's the same thing with this type of product, is that you're trying to prevent something. So it might extend somebody's career. You might be able to make more money. Exactly. There's a million benefits to this. It's just not a quick fix. Right. And that's what our society's so used to seeing, is whether it's a quick dollar, it's a quick fix, it's a quick high, it's everything is quick. No, this is a process. Exactly. And this process might take a little bit longer, but when you realize that this process is working, it's a home run. It's a home run. It's a home run.
Yeah. Who do you got tomorrow? Who do you like?
Good question.
What's tomorrow?
What's tomorrow?
Don't leave me out. What's happening
What is tomorrow?
It's not the Super Bowl, because it's February 4th,
it's not Super Bowl. It's the AFC, NFC. It's a championship.
That's all it is.
I like
it's just a championship.
I like Jacksonville.
A lot of people calling that.
I'm here. I'm from Florida.
With the points.
We haven't been in the big dance in a while, being in Florida team. So I'm gonna go with the home team.
I'm going Jacksonville here too. Calling Jacksonville.
And there's someone who has a hand issue that's affecting.
That's Tom
that, right?
Brady. That would be Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
That guy, right?
He did a press release.
Just the best quarterback that ever, and it
Ever
hurts
lived.
me to say this, probably the best quarterback that ever played in the NFL.
Patriots.
And it really pains me to say
a
that,
guy.
but it's the truth.
Yeah.
He mastered
You
the
got to
game.
give a shout out to the man when he does what he do.
Right, yeah.
And the second game?
That's a good one though. It's a good
Who
one.
you got in the second game, Art?
I like Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I think Philly has gotten far. When Wentz went down, I'm surprised that they got to their first game, but I like Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. I'm gonna go with Minnesota too. We're in the same
Who are they
house.
playing?
We're on the same roof right now, so I gotta stay.
We're
I
the
gotta stay
same
on the
colors.
good terms.
Yeah.
Minnesota, purple.
And
Yeah,
purple.
purple.
Timberwolves.
Hey,
right?
hey, Purple Haze. Go Purple Haze.
Haze.
You're gonna either go
Who's
green or
Minnesota
you can go
going
purple.
against?
They're going against Philadelphia.
Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, well.
It could go either way. It could go green. It could go purple.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
know
it
the
could go
Eagles.
both. We're in there.
Eagles Patriots Super Bowl.
Sucks.
You are currently tuned to Cannabis Life Radio, brought to you by Green Roads World.
Bada bing.
Yay.
Green Roads World is recognized as one of the world's leading suppliers of CBD products, and Cannabis Life Radio is giving away Green Road CBD products every week. To join, just tune in our Facebook Live broadcast every Saturday morning at 10 and follow the instructions on air and in the comment section. Cannabis Life Radio is teaming up with Green Roads World to give you free CBD. Good luck from Cannabis Life Radio and Green Roads World.
Across the state to across the country, the Hemp Kings is your online home for hemp oil products. From organic hemp oil to intense concentrates, there is only one name you need to remember. The Hemp Kings.
The Hemp King.
Our hemp cream pain blaster lotions uses natural essential oils to deliver hemp's natural pain reliever directly to the site of inflammation for long-lasting relief. Now, our pain blaster hemp cream has now gone to the extreme.
Extreme?
Extreme!
Extreme!
New Pain Blaster Extreme Cream delivers even more relief, even faster! The best hemp products at the best prices delivered anywhere in the continental U.S. TheHempKings.com!
TheHempKings.com.
As a loving pet owner, you want to treat your senior dog for dysplasia, neuropathy, and joint discomfort with minimal traditional chemical medication. And as loving pet owners, we at King Canine agree, and we're excited to make our signature CBD line available to you, derived from all-natural cannabidiol compounds. Lab-tested, non-GMO, plant-based, cutting-edge King Calm CBD reduces inflammation and discomfort naturally, and even reduces anxiety from fireworks and thunderstorms. Go to KingCanine.com, that's KingKanine for details, and browse a full line of products like King Comb De-Shedder, King Calm Balm, and King Clean Shampoo for pet wellness inside and out. Order now using the code BARK20 for an exclusive 20% discount. KingKanine.com, King Calm CBD, and the rest of our natural cannabidiol products. King Canine, for natural pet wellness inside and out.
Florida Home Grow is the state's #1 seller of hemp oil products. Stop by and check out their organic hemp oil, capsules, and pain-killing topical lotions. Enjoy a complimentary cup of fresh organic coffee when checking out our beautiful showroom. Florida Home Grow also carries unique hemp items like jewelry, soaps, clothing, and accessories. Don't forget to try refreshing natural lemonade or delicious ice cream sandwiches. Florida Home Grow is conveniently located on Lake Worth Road between Jog and the Turnpike. We're the #1 sellers of hemp oil products because our stuff works.
This is the radio show people talk about all week long.
Okay. I just don't want to miss
This
it.
is Cannabis Life Radio.
We're going right into hot mics,
didn't miss
boy.
it.
Bonging it away.
Don't worry, you didn't miss it, Cheryl. This is Cannabis Life
We're
Radio.
still talking about Pro Bowls.
Cannabis.
Pro Bowl, yay.
Pro Bowl, yay.
Pro Bowl.
Go
Sounds
team.
like where I want
Pro
to be.
taking a bowl. So it's a
I like
pro.
that.
It's a pro taking a bowl.
Pro taking a bowl.
Pro
Pro
taking a bowl.
Bowl.
Either
I like
one. I
that.
like both of them.
Pro
There you
Bowl
go. There you
smoker.
go.
We got a
You
campaign
did
that.
do a lot of testing last week in Jamaica, so
Yeah,
you probably
sample,
did some
sample,
bowls back
sample
then.
me.
You are listening to Cannabis Life Radio. I'm Leon Hamilton.
But
Okay,
you have
start
one of
over.
those in every.
We're here
Take
too,
two.
Leon.
Take two.
I medicated earlier.
What?
You're currently
about to
tuned to
hit him.
Cannabis Life Radio. I'm Leon Hamilton, along with Arby Barroso, Cheryl Murray Powell, and special guest Treyas Jarrells is here.
Yes.
And we're talking about medicating, and we're talking about football, basketball, and one of the things that we were talking about is the prevalence of cannabis in football. You weren't in pro football, but you're in contact with some pro football.
Well,
players.
he was in contact with them, and at the same time, yes, I could screw up once in a while myself. So he was involved in high Division I impact and played Pop
Right.
Warner. Nazar, which is our producer, basically asked an amazing question.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask that right now? So since let's
here.
get you on the mic real
Here,
quick.
let me move my
and-
mic over
and
here,
Push that
Nasser.
mic over there.
Here you go, Nasser. You're a star now. Get closer. It's got to be right there.
That's our wonderful producer.
Yes, this is our wonderful producer.
Hello,
right now.
hello, Cannabis Life Radio viewers. My question for Trey was Let me slide in here.
Let's get you in here.
Hello, Cannabis Life viewers. My name's Nasser El Mullah. I'm here
whoop,
with
shout
Arby,
out.
with Cheryl, with Trey. My question for Trey was just asking him about whether or not he used cannabis and if it affected him with his performance on the field.
Right,
so
right.
how him and his teammates used cannabis and whether or not it affected their performance.
Right.
question.
So,
man.
so,
Thank
That's a
you,
good
thank
question.
you.
so before I answer the question, I'm gonna just start off by saying that the NCAA has already said that they don't see cannabis as a performance enhancer, right?
Right.
So through my experience, when I would take an edible before the game or smoke before practice, it got me in the zone. It was
Yeah.
a zone. Everything moved slower for me, so I could see everything before it really happened.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is.
It's kind of weird. So I felt like I was in the zone. It was cheating in a sense, man. I'm not gonna lie, because I would see everything, and then mental. The game is 90% mental, right?
Right.
The other 10% is physical, right? So that other guy across from me, I'm always playing with his head. It was always a head game to me,
Yeah.
right? So his body language, eyes, I would always play with people. It was mental, but I was always in my head.
Well,
because
that's
I
all
was-
you could see is right there,
Exactly.
boy. That's what they
it.
teach you.
All right. So I was always in my head because I was always under the
And
influence.
you didn't have the anxiety that other people have,
no,
because you're just chill.
It was a calm before the storm.
Yes.
That's what I would tell
Love it.
everybody. It would calm me down before the storm, because once I get out on the field, I'm a whole different person, totally different person. And anybody I play with, a lot of people don't like me on the field because I'm just grimy. I was taught to play that way. But
it.
I was always in the zone. And I know some guys that would take Adderalls before the game.
Oh my
I've
God.
heard a lot about that.
Oh yeah. Some of the best guys
We're
take
taking
Adderalls
meth.
before the game.
Oh,
They were literally
Well,
taking
that's.
that
I mean, a
before.
lot of students use that to get through college.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very popular thing.
Right. But that was my Adderall. It slowed the things down for me. I was able to, develop plays in my head. I would go to the sideline, hey, coach, I think this will work. I see it. And, they were running and it would work. But it was all credited to me being, in another state of mind. So, yeah, it definitely helped me out, during my career.
I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of NBA players, I mean, I would say more than half of NBA players medicate at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
I'm shooting low because, I mean, we probably got some people on Facebook right now.
I'm sorry.
But-
I gotta tell the truth.
but-
we gotta make sure that
Yeah.
these people
Well,
start.
we don't
just
know the
like
truth.
isolating the NBA.
So if you can't
for
handle the
obvious
truth,
reasons.
I'm just
can't
saying-
say the
I
truth.
think it's just sports
I'm
overall.
just saying.
Right.
They're
I'm just saying that what I know, and that's the sport that I know. The NBA is the sport that I know. So
Well, let's go by 70. Like right now, the
say
United
it's
States
70 or
itself
80%.
is like 63% of everybody who lives in America would vote yes right now for
Right.
some type of medical or recreational.
Right.
So you're talking about at least 63% of athletes are consuming or medicating one way or the other.
yeah,
Definitely.
I'd say way higher than that.
And
Yeah.
Way higher
it
than
is,
that.
I think it is a performance enhancer, and I know a lot of people, for all of us. And I think that a lot of law school students
Yeah.
got through law school.
Really?
I know a lot
do you
of
wanna
people,
name any?
a lot of attorneys. No, I'm not going
We
to.
have some
I'm not
police
calling
officers.
out.
I could guarantee you right
Yeah.
now, we have police officers that are police now that were in the academy that were taking our CBD during their testing.
Yeah.
For sure, 100%. A bunch
Yes.
of them that were
What
taking.
about THC? Do you think they were using THC?
I don't
I don't
think on
think
that
they were
side
taking
they
I
would
heard
do
they had
that.
the best.
Because they
But-
could be tested.
Because they could be tested,
Oh,
but
yeah,
they
that's
were
right.
taking CBD and a lot of CBD, and we have firefighters, pre-firefighters, medical students across the board that are using CBD to study because some of them it helps them focus or calms them down before a test. So a lot of them are using CBD prior to that.
Yeah.
So they're actually going, the Adderall is very prevalent in
Right.
college because you need to study and you're grinding, and you're trying to get through that. But now we've had a lot of students that are going towards the CBD because it kind of
Right.
relaxes them and they
And
can
it's
kind of
natural.
focus.
Right.
It's natural. It's
And
not meth.
comedians.
One of my
Performance
coaches,
enhancer.
one of my coaches. I'm not gonna say which level, but he was an avid user, and that's how he came up with our whole playbook.
Right.
Right.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
He came up with your playbook by
Yeah.
using cannabis.
Higher level.
That's
Came up
awesome.
with the whole playbook. He's
Wow.
actually one of
Spiritual
my guys. He's still one of my guys.
Hey, one of
my guys.
the biggest things for scientists and stuff like that was getting on acid.
Yep.
Right.
That's what they would get on acid, and in DNA testing was started by a gentleman that was literally a high surfer, and would always take acid.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, people look for mind-altering things at
Exactly.
times, and that's an enhancer on its own. If you're really you're affecting your brain in that fashion. We're not advocating that on this.
Absolutely.
We're just trying to make
Especially,
a point.
with teens, we're not advocating. We're talking specifically adult use, and there's a lot of anecdotals out there. We're starting to see more research. Research with veterans. Sue Sisley does a
Right.
tremendous
Exactly.
amount of research there. So the truth is going to be revealed. Those who already know, they just have better performance, and they're
Right.
going to ride that out for
Take
a long
advantage.
time.
Yeah. Right.
Now
Take
that
advantage.
Arby, you were talking about it being removed from the
USADA?
antidote,
Exactly.
that
USADA.
USADA.
Exactly.
Listen, the athletes are paying attention. Now we're going to see sports, the Olympics, everything go to a higher level now as far as
Right.
their ability to
Let's see
perform.
some records being broken.
We're
I
going to
can tell
see
you
some
that.
serious
Oh, yeah,
records.
Well,
serious
listen,
records.
I mean, going back to the whole thing, I mean, they're testing MDMA right now for PTSD. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
far they've come,
And-
where they're trying to figure out
and
any
mushrooms.
which way they can to figure out this PTSD thing when we
Right.
have
Yeah.
literally cannabis right in front of us.
Right in front of us.
Right in front of us. And they want to continue to attack it and go after it. So,
Yeah, we still have time to submit questions for Arby's Mail Sack. I just want to get that
yeah,
out there.
and I want to do a poll. I want to see for the AFC and NFC championship game
Yeah.
on our Facebook viewers right now. Let's
Yeah.
put up a poll and find out who they're voting for.
For the
on-
Pro Bowl or
no,
for the Super Bowl?
AFC for the AFC championship
championship
and
game.
NFC championship
Is that
game.
tomorrow?
That
Yeah,
is
both are tomorrow.
tomorrow. One at 3:05 and one at 6.
Right.
Tomorrow. Who do you guys think is going to win? And let's put it out there. And whoever comes close to the closest points, let's give out a giveaway next week for Sunday for next Saturday show.
Nice. We got more winners to give away to announce soon. Actually, I got them right here, right?
I think it's right.
Yeah, we're going to do
And
it.
I'm
We're
going to do
that
a
in
poll
minute.
in 2 weeks.
You're going to what?
A poll. She's going to do a poll.
Yeah, so maybe Batman versus Superman, but we'll see.
I did a poll last week.
What kind of poll was that?
I was at a strip club.
What did they rate you?
I don't even want to focus on something like that. That is like, holy cow. It's
I
not.
love it. Give me some Leon. Thank you for
I
that.
mentally do not want to remember that
And
comment.
by the way, the reason I was bringing up Arby's
The
Mail
poll?
Sack to from polls to mail sacks,
It was memorable.
and I'm pointing at you. The reason I brought that up to you is one of the questions has to do with you. So I want you to stick around for that. You are currently tuned to Cannabis Life Radio, brought to you by Green Roads World.
Yes.
Green Roads World is recognized as one of the world's leading suppliers of CBD products, and Cannabis Life Radio is giving away Green Roads CBD products every week. To join, just tune in on our Facebook Live broadcast every Saturday morning at 10 and follow the instructions on air and in the comment section. Cannabis Life Radio is teaming up with Green Roads World to give you free CBD. Good luck from Cannabis Life Radio and Green Roads World.
Across the state to across the country, the Hemp Kings is your online home for hemp oil products. From organic hemp oil to intense concentrates, there is only one name you need to remember. The Hemp Kings.
The Hemp King.
Our hemp cream pain blaster lotions uses natural essential oils to deliver hemp's natural pain reliever directly to the site of inflammation for long-lasting relief. Now, our pain blaster hemp cream has now gone to the extreme.
Extreme.
Extreme!
Extreme.
New Pain Blaster Extreme Cream delivers even more relief, even faster! The best hemp products at the best prices delivered anywhere in the continental U.S. TheHempKings.com!
TheHempKings.com.
As a loving pet owner, you want to treat your senior dog for dysplasia, neuropathy, and joint discomfort with minimal traditional chemical medication. And as loving pet owners, we at King Canine agree, and we're excited to make our signature CBD line available to you. Derived from all-natural cannabidiol compounds, lab-tested, non-GMO, plant-based, cutting-edge King Calm CBD reduces inflammation and discomfort naturally, and even reduces anxiety from fireworks and thunderstorms. Go to KingCanine.com. That's KingKanine for details. And browse a full line of products like King Comb De-Shedder, King Calm Balm, and King Clean Shampoo for pet wellness inside and out. Order now using the code BARK20 for an exclusive 20% discount. KingKanine.com. King Calm CBD and the rest of our natural cannabidiol products. King Canine for natural pet wellness inside and out.
Florida Home Grow is the state's #1 seller of hemp oil products. Stop by and check out their organic hemp oil, capsules, and pain-killing topical lotions. Enjoy a complimentary cup of fresh organic coffee when checking out our beautiful showroom. Florida Home Grow also carries unique hemp items like jewelry, soaps, clothing, and accessories. Don't forget to try refreshing natural lemonade or delicious ice cream sandwiches. Florida Home Grow is conveniently located on Lake Worth Road between Jog and the Turnpike. We are the #1 sellers of hemp oil products because our stuff works.
This is the radio show people talk about all week long. This is Cannabis Life Radio.
We just had a huge planning session for the radio show,
Yes.
and I paid no attention.
No,
I didn't.
love it.
Not one
I love
bit.
when you
I
do
had
that.
my headphones
I went
on,
to the
and
bathroom.
everybody's talking at me, and I could see their mouths moving, and I'm like, yeah, all right. It really aggravates him. That's what I like. This is Cannabis Life Radio. Leon Hamilton here, along with Arby Barroso, Cheryl Murray Powell, and Trey Jarrell. I wanted to announce our winners for the CBD. The $250 worth of CBD is coming up in just a second. We want to also warn people that Arby's mail sack is coming up.
Yeah. With the polls.
Yes,
Yeah,
a lot of questions.
With polls.
With the polls.
Bank
lot of-
cruises, all kinds of
There's
stuff.
a lot of questions about your mail sack. That's
I
all
bet
I wanna
there
say.
is. I mean, my wife would probably have a question about what you're talking about my sack for. So, I mean,
not
we
talking
could
about
all
the
get
sack.
on into all real dirty
That's not
stuff
what
in this
I'm
thing right
talking
now.
about your this is what is your mail is contained in your mail sack. I don't know what you mean.
I don't understand what you're trying
Okay,
to say
this
here.
is my favorite segment of the show besides the mail sack. This is Cheryl's closing arguments, where she
Yes.
gets to sum up everything and wrap it in a big
Wrap
bow.
it up.
Absolutely.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up
the
then.
Wrap it
Let's
up.
go.
Thank
Wrap
you
it
so
up.
much. Well, you know me, I'm always talking about dates and canna industry events where we can all come together, support, advocate. So just to start out, we have coming up on February 3rd, we have Canada, Super Canada Miami. We'll be, Green Roads will have a table, Canna Headhunters will have a table. We'll be speaking, a lot of great, you'll hear from Michelle Weiner, you're going to hear from Irv Rosenfeld, you're going to hear from a lot of the heavy hitters in cannabis. Even from Jamaica, Douglas Gordon is going to be one of our speakers as well for the Super Canada Day. So you definitely want to be at that event on February 3rd in Miami. Beyond that, we kind of touched upon some of these dates, but I'm going to reemphasize. On February 13th, we'd like to descend on D.C. to talk about the Marijuana Justice Act, also talk about the hemp bill, which is House Bill 3530. We need all the support. We'll print out what you need. We'll schedule the conversations with legislators or their staff. They're not going to be in office on the 12th, so this will be their first day back. We've already reached out to Congress people on this and had discussions as far as what would be the best day of that week. February 14th, Green Heart Day. I know Arby is going to be a huge supporter. Green Roads is supporting, and there's the concept around Green Heart Day is, as we know, February 14th is Valentine's Day.
Yep.
And then it is also the day of the hearing for Jose Belen, Marvin Washington, Sebastian Cotier, a number of plaintiffs in the lawsuit asking and, requiring access to marijuana across the country. This
And that
is
lawsuit
huge.
is against who?
Jeff Sessions.
Okay.
And the United States government.
You notice he's gone. Nobody's seen him.
That's because he's
hiding.
he's deconstructing our
disappeared.
justice system
Oh,
and
is that what he's doing?
rebuilding it. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, don't
I thought he
sleep,
was in
don't
the- I
sleep.
thought
Well,
he
he
was in
came
that-
out saying that he was going to
Going back in
building the
time
task
right now.
force for the opiate or building a new building for some opiate. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just spending stupid money.
I think he's in that tree with those elves,
He probably
making
may-
those
may-
cookies.
he's-
There's a number of things he rescinded.
Lady Gaga, probably.
Just the cannabis piece is what affects us, but there's a number of things he rescinded from the Obama era at the same time last couple weeks ago. So don't sleep. So yes, February 14th, we're all going to go to New York, and we're going to support those plaintiffs in that lawsuit. They're fighting for us. This could be a pathway to legalization. There are a number of ways where it can happen. We have our, petitioning. We have our Marijuana Justice Act, and then also what's very important is the outcome of this particular lawsuit. So if you can get to New York, get to New York. In addition, there's a group of activists are putting together initiatives where we are going to be protesting in courthouses across the country in support of Green Heart Day. So please go to the Mission Zero page on Facebook to get more information. But this is something that's being organized so everybody can take part. If you can't fly to New York, then organize a group in your particular jurisdiction so that we can all be protesting together and showing support for this lawsuit. February 15th is the CBD lawsuit versus the DEA. That's happening in San Francisco, California. We'll probably be out there as well in support of that. So that's where you want to be. I missed the Women Grow event February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Denver, Colorado. I will also be there. Shout out to Deshita Dawson. She's with Deshita's awesome,
Yeah,
right?
she is awesome.
She's with Minorities for Medical Marijuana, and she's a strong advocate. She's an entrepreneur. She helps entrepreneurs get started, and she's a marketing genius. She has a session at the Women Grow event December 1st and December. What month are we in? February 1st and 2nd.
That's how quick it goes.
That's how quick
It
it
goes.
goes. Last year,
Flies.
just gone. So those are some dates. February 22nd, is specific to Florida, is the Regulate Florida and Normal Lobby Day in Tallahassee. So you definitely want to be there as well. So those are the key dates that are happening right now.
We're just pointing something out here.
Yeah.
Don't mind us. We're
Oh,
just
no
being
problem.
ridiculous.
Those are the key
I was
dates-
hanging on
key
every
dates in
word.
Cannabis. I'm going to shift gears to Canna Headhunters, hot jobs. We always want to highlight hot
Yeah.
jobs that we're seeing through Canna Headhunters. What we're seeing is an interest in chemists right now, even collegiate students who are studying chemistry. So if you have that background, please send your resumes in. We have the need in Jamaica specifically, and there's an emerging need here in the United States. So if you have any chemistry background, you want to get into the cannabis industry, please send your resumes to cannaheadhunters@outlook.com or visit www.cannaheadhunters.com.
I think also on marketing. I think we're always looking for marketing
Marketing, right.
producers.
Absolutely.
PR,
PR,
is a big thing in this industry.
Right.
So definitely anybody that feels that they have some type of talent and outreach
Right.
should be sending in their resumes, because this industry is 90% don't touch plant.
Yep,
Yes.
Right.
90%.
10% touch plant, 90% of the employment is you're not touching plant. So I think anybody who has that type of talent or marketing, whether it's anything that has to do in professional or in jobs, has an opportunity to be in this business.
Or if you just got the vision, period, right?
Right.
It's a lot of visionaries that we're lacking in the industry. You
Yeah.
know, you have a lot of people who their vision and motive is the money. You
Right.
need visionaries who, their motive is, it's coming from the heart.
Yeah.
It's for the people.
Absolutely.
So people with visions, visionaries, young visionaries out there who don't have the means, when you get behind people like RB and Green Rose and Cheryl, they'll help push you.
And Canopy, too, is a good one.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
definitely visionaries.
Yeah, and when you go over those job openings, every time you don't say radio host, I'm like, yes, I'm not fired.
I told you, you're stuck
we
with
got
us,
you,
man. You're stuck with us.
I want to
missed you
congratulate.
so much last week.
Yeah, I missed you. Trust me.
Oh, he missed you.
I
He
know,
missed
I
you
know.
bad.
That's my baby bubba.
Okay, we got to congratulate Terry Cook from Texas. Terry won $250 worth of Green Road CBD.
Yes.
Also, Rhonda Agard from Ohio also won $250 worth of Green Road CBD. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Enjoy,
Cannabis
ladies.
Life Radio.
And like us on Facebook. I mean, that's the way you end up winning. Like us
Right.
on Facebook, follow us, like us, see where we're going.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Green Roads World or it's a Cannabis Life Radio. I mean, make
Right.
sure you like us and have the opportunity to win that.
Yeah.
Try our gummy blocks. They're so good.
Gummy blocks.
Flame.
I like a lollipop.
Gummy, have you seen the new Turp Toads?
I did. Turtles are awesome.
Yeah.
Watch out.
They're like
Right,
big
it's time.
little baby
time.
froggies. They're so cute.
I actually heard myself. All right. They can go down now.
We got it.
Crazy.
We
You
got
wanna
He
it.
go-
We got
freaking
it.
killed me on
Got
that.
it.
He killed me on that.
It's time for Arby's mail sack,
Holy
as you
cow.
can tell from the music. Okay. I got to take off my glasses so I
Oh,
can see.
wow.
Robin from DC, how effective are CBD pens in your opinion? I thought it said something else.
I think it. I mean, everybody has their own way of consuming anything.
Right.
I mean, that's why flower is so important right now. With Eric Stevens fighting for flower here in the state of Florida and regulate Florida. I think it's just another way of consuming the product.
You know.
So it really all
Yeah.
depends on the way you want
But
you want to ingest it.
Vaping is a great delivery system.
It is.
Great.
Suppository
Absolutely.
is like one of the top ones.
It is.
Vaping and inhalers.
Inhalers.
Those
It's
are
huge,
really good ones
right?
as well. So those are
because
top
you got
ones.
the edibles that take, about 45 minutes to an hour. If you're in pain and you need relief right then,
Yep.
you
I'm a
wanna hit the
tincture
vape.
guy. I'm not into vapes.
Yeah, I'm tinctures
Yeah.
too.
Tincture.
Vape guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have a great cartridge, though.
Yeah, we do have a vape cartridge banging that out.
That's
That's
true.
for sure. We can't even keep up.
Give me one.
We don't. We,
Carlos from Minnesota, do you think people who smoke marijuana recreationally are zombies?
that is a
No.
ridiculous
Really?
question.
Where did this
Coming
come
from
Yeah.
Cannabis Life
Come on,
Radio.
Carlos.
Come on.
Come on,
Well,
man.
people who smoke
We
recreational.
want those people. We actually want those people. We want naysayers on this show.
Yeah,
I
join
mean,
us.
we will.
Yeah,
we will
why didn't you-
Doctors,
Give me your phone number. We'll
professors,
call you.
Hit us up. We'll call you out.
Yeah.
I mean, not call you out. We'll be having a real, just a conversation. Just tell us why you do not believe in this, but come at us the right way.
Right way.
Come
Right.
educated.
Educated,
Don't come blindsided trying
Right.
to just get on the radio and snip in here and shit.
Right. All right. Here's one from Steve in Gainesville. Please ask people to fight for raw cannabis from home growing because juicing raw cannabis cured my cancer.
Wow.
Love the
That is
show,
a
by
good
the way.
point.
That's a good
That is a
point.
great point. A lot of people do that. They juice hemp. You have right now at Whole Foods. They're selling them in the
hemp
bowls.
leaves, right?
Hemp leaves.
Hemp leaves, yeah.
So
crazy.
it's just crazy where every state is at, and you still got people getting arrested for possession. I mean, it just makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
And, I was
ahead.
just going
No,
to
no.
say, speaking of Gainesville, Swamp City, they're going to be launching a CBD lounge coming up soon. So they're going to be highlighting Green Roads products. We're going to be very involved with that launch. We support Thai, we support Swamp City, and again, it's just giving access to alternative medicine to patients. So I
Right.
love their concept.
Nice.
Can't wait to see it open, and we're going to invite all of you to join us.
Right.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
All right. Juan from Miami. Florida state troopers just got Narcan to revive heroin and opiate overdoses. After they were revived, they let them go. If they arrested them like they do cannabis users, maybe this would end.
Right.
I don't agree with
I don't
that.
agree with
that.
I don't. I agree on the Narcan because you save a life first of all,
Right.
and then you preserve that life. You never know where that life's going to end up or end up
Absolutely.
doing because there was plenty of times that I was probably in and out.
Right.
But
But we can't just keep we can't just keep letting them walk away. I mean, they're walking
but you
away and not.
can.
If they
You
have
can.
it, that's their chance to
To
start their life
yes.
and restart their life. So
To keep sitting the same
but
people
I do
over
agree
and
with
over
the point
again.
that we shouldn't be having this distinction with
We shouldn't choose.
addicts,
Right.
depending on what type of drug
Exactly.
they're addicted to. So when we have the crack epidemic, all of these
That's
were
what
the
it
worst,
is.
Exactly.
worst
That's
people on
what
the
it is.
planet, right? And then now that it's the demographics are changing,
Yep.
then it's
Right.
more acceptable.
It's more
That's
acceptable.
exactly where it is.
We
So
say
that's-
we say give everyone a second chance.
'cause-
Absolutely,
We
a
say
second,
yes
a
to second
third, a
chances.
fourth chance. The
Yes.
fact is that I read a quote by somebody this morning that basically said, jails are for murderers, for rapists. you shouldn't be jailing people for drugs or people that are addicted. There's programs for that, and we should make programs for that. The jails are for real criminals. It's not for people that have either an addiction problem. Maybe at one point, you get to the point where hey, listen, you got to go spend a little time in. But the fact is that there's other ways, and if Narcan's going to save a life and give that opportunity to a person to give that next morning to wake up and maybe give them that chance and do something different in their life.
Wake-up call.
It's a wake-up call. So I definitely.
Hopefully, it's a wake-up call.
We're not judgy about people.
No,
I'm not judgy. I'm not judgy. I'm just going by what I've seen.
All right.
Dahlia from Miami. Leon mentioned before that
we're at 305 today, huh?
Yeah, a couple of them. That the government owns the patent on CBD. Why?
Yes.
It
And
does.
also, do they own the patents on anything else? That's the question I want to know.
Tons of things.
Yeah, well,
and
what else
I
do
don't-
they own the patent on?
I'm sure tons.
I'm
of
pretty
it.
sure we
I don't
can
think the
Google
government
that.
owns patents on anything.
Well, they
think-
shouldn't.
I don't know.
First of all, they're not
Except
a
for this.
pharmacies. They're not a pharmaceutical company, so
And they
that they
can't own-
shouldn't be. They
Right.
shouldn't be patenting anything and then licensing it out
Right.
to pharmaceuticals, which is basically what they did.
Right.
So they license it out. You see all the way from the end of 1998 when 96 California became some kind of like legal or acceptance.
Right.
In 1998 they did something. In 2003 they patented CBD. They're not dumb.
It's
They
business.
knew where
It's
this was
business.
going.
It's
It's
a
all
business.
about it's all
Right.
about the dollars.
It was a
And
business
that
move.
goes back to what Trey was saying. Everybody that talks to us about money, I don't even want to hear about it. We don't even entertain them
Nope.
because it's not. It's about the passion that you have in this business,
Right.
Yeah.
and for the people at the end, that's going to lead to money.
Right.
It does lead to money. It took us 6 years, and we were going about that. Talking about that in the car over here. I got my first paycheck November 2016. We were in business since 2012. So, we put in a lot of time, sweat,
Right.
and effort into this game. So when I'm talking to somebody that's on the THC side or True Leaf or any of these people, we've put in our time.
Right.
We're here sharing and educating the people and give the people the opportunity. That's why we don't judge. You want to medicate, you smoke, you
That's
do
right.
what you need to do. You want to do CBD, I do CBD. I live in a household where I have my wife who medicates and I do CBD.
Right.
So I can't prejudge on anybody.
Yeah. Is it okay if we go over in time? Is that
Yeah,
fine?
we could
Okay.
we could do whatever we want.
All
We
right.
own this time.
All right. Well, don't get angry. Come on. All right, Mike from Lake. We just got a lot of good questions today, and I want to make sure we get all of them.
Well,
Mike,
we got overtime.
Right,
You
Mike-
know what overtime is?
Overtime is when you go over
OT.
in like a game and
We
people
gotta call.
actually
We
sit there
gotta
and wait
call
for
the
you to
best player.
like
God,
they have
I
nowhere
love
else
you.
to go.
I love you so
goodness.
much.
Oh,
You
my
can't even
goodness.
imagine
Such
how
an
much I
attorney
love you.
response.
all right. Next
What?
question. Next question. Mike from Lake Worth. Does CBD work better the more THC you take?
Ooh, CBD is almost like it mediates
Exactly.
your THC high,
Right.
and it could actually level it out for longer periods of time. What it does, so it kind of levels you out. It's almost like taking off on a plane
Right.
and then planning out at 37,000 feet. So it takes you longer, but you don't peak. So it's almost like it's a good thing, and people starting to see that,
Right.
and that's why people have accepted it more because they're like, well, it doesn't get you high. Well, you know what? It brings you down from that bad one, and it
Exactly.
keeps you going on a nice level. So the fact is that it's really good, both of them together.
Yeah.
And tolerance plays a role in all that.
Right.
Yes, tolerance, definitely,
Exactly.
definitely.
It's a lot of factors.
Yeah. I just have to have a ton of THC. But that's just me. Okay, Steve from Alabama. I have my MMJ card in Florida. I
Okay,
guess he's-
congratulations.
Congratulations.
I guess he's northwest corner or whatever. Would I get my card revoked if I get caught with flower cannabis?
Good question.
I haven't seen anything legislatively about the revocation of card for getting
punishment.
caught with flour. It's more if you lie about your ailment or you lie about like you give your product to other people
Right.
and those types of violations.
fraud type
yeah,
deal.
Yeah, fraud type stuff.
All right.
There was actually a lady that got arrested in West Palm Beach, and I think they dropped the charges because they didn't want to set precedent
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
on
thing.
flour. So
Flour's
they
going to be legal. I
it's
don't know
gonna
why
be,
they're
there's
dragging
no
it.
other way
soon.
around
No
it.
way
Yeah.
around that.
The way this business would not succeed if there's no flour.
No, but we're at iPhone 1 right now.
Right, exactly.
That's
Be
a
on
good
two
point.
soon.
That's a good point.
2 coming out.
It's
Just
coming
wait.
out. We know that.
Just wait.
All right. Lawrence from Fort Lauderdale, by the way, this is my favorite question. You guys suck.
Yes.
You advocate for the corporate takeover of cannabis, bringing guests on to promote biomarking weed that leads to weed oligarchy. Do you support Monsanto and Bayer to take over weed too? Free the weed.
Free listen, we own hashtag trademark free the leaf.
Free the
so
leaf.
if there anybody that brings in the free market is us.
I wonder what he was talking
we've
about.
started a lot of people in this market that are no longer with us. We've educated people. It's about providing, again, I love competition.
Right.
Green Road, we love that.
Right.
You know, because again, if there's somebody out there that's doing it better, we want to do it better. So
Right.
it's just like competition. We're surrounded by athletes.
Right.
Terrell, we
Yeah.
got a bunch of athletes in Green Roads. And then we have professionals that are thinking outside the box to bring that all in to one. So
And I think,
Go ahead.
to respond to that, I think the confusion lies in the fact that we really hover and reside in the medical space. So when it comes to, you know, the recreational space, there's opportunity for more creativity. Because we're in the medical space, we want to preserve that space. We do try to eliminate threats. And with you saying that we're from the corporate approach to cannabis, it's really a public safety approach. So it's about making sure that there isn't that one incident of a kid getting sick or passing away, God forbid, that makes the whole industry go away.
They're looking for it, man.
Yeah.
They want to advertise it and run news cycles on somebody's dying on cannabis.
Right.
You know, shout out to Barry Gordon, Dr. Barry Gordon at that for a homegrown case in Florida, waiting for the decision. Thank you for joining us. I mean, it's the fact is that we're not going to have that, and we need to protect that, like Cheryl says, because it is increasing. I mean, you have dabs today, you have waxes that are high potent, you know, that people that have never medicated before, if they do that, they could possibly pass out because it's a very high dose, and again, that goes back to tolerance and how much you smoke or medicate yourself with. And again, we're not here advocating either side. We are a hemp CBD derived company, but we have been on the cannabis side since 2008. So we're on both sides of the spectrum, just trying to educate the consumers to get their best product and create a bigger market.
We're industry preservationists. So every time we see something that's a potential threat to the industry and patients getting access, we react, and then we engage other partners. So that's how we behave like a corporate entity. But it's really about making sure that patients continue to get the access they have, and they have increased access in a safe environment. So whether it's the cancer patient that like a mite or mold issue could take them out, we want to make sure that the testing procedures are in place, the standards are in place to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Right.
All right.
And Stephen Piper, I see just stay tuned next week. You know, just give us a number. I see you've been posting nonstop. Shout out to you. And we're going to have a lot more winners. We're going to start breaking this down. We actually have CannabisLifeApparel.com that we're going to start giving out our clothing line that's just out right now and winning.
The Activist Medicate shirt.
Yes, the Activist Medicate shirt. So that's a green. It's a green shirt with Medicate on it. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Just go to CannabisLifeApparel.com. You'll see our new clothing line there.
All right, our final question today, which is, by the way, my favorite question of all time. You ready?
Go.
Okay. Without naming names, could you give hints at who the most famous person you have medicated with?
That's tough.
Yeah.
I know some of the people that know me know who I've medicated
Well,
with.
just
that's
give
for
it.
sure.
You don't have to. You don't have to. Well, I think I probably know.
You probably do know.
All you have
Let's
to do
not
is
say this.
All you have to
on
do
the
is
live air, please.
just say, you know, just like here's mine. I have two. One is a 1990s rapper, and one is
That is a pretty damn wide open market.
yeah. And one is a NBA championship ring holder.
All right, you narrowed it down a little bit there. By I don't know how many years, but we're there. All right, I can't give mine. I could say that in the club. I'll go off that phrase right there, and a couple others at Crowbar from back in the day, and that's
The
about
club?
as far.
That's as far as you're gonna go? You're not gonna say-
in the club.
Is okay?
In the club.
All right, in the club.
In
Was
the club.
was this a famous person?
I'm not saying. You
Okay.
figure it out.
Cheryl.
Mine is an internationally known comedian.
Nice. And Trey.
I like my politicians. I feel like you know
Good call.
entertainers.
Nice.
I've been around them all my life, but being able to medicate with politicians, that in my opinion is big.
Yeah, that opens
Yes.
the
There you
door.
go.
All right.
Yes.
We're gonna close out
So
the
is
show.
that- yep.
You have been listening to...
Wait. Before we leave, we wanted to make sure that we recognized and honored a Canna warrior, a fallen Canna warrior, Adam Goldstein. This entire show has been dedicated to his memory. We lost him recently. We're sending all our love and all our prayers to his family, specifically Karen Goldstein, who has done so much for the state of Florida, the entire nation as far as legalization. Adam would be out there counting petitions, getting petitions signed at all the normal Regulate Florida events, and he worked so hard and was just a warm, fantastic, funny, engaging, lively person. So the entire industry is feeling that loss, but we wanted to make sure to recognize and dedicate this entire episode to him. He will not be forgotten. We are going to keep his memory alive forever.
Thank you. You have been listening to Cannabis Life Radio, brought to you by Green Roads World.
Shout out.
Join us next week for another edition of Cannabis Life Radio. Cannabis Life Radio has been a presentation of Green Roads World.